You are all set.
Fantastic. Okay, so it is 6:30. I'd like to call our meeting to order. First item on our agenda this evening is public comment. Just as a reminder, comments must pertain to on the agenda. We'll allow for 3 minutes per comment. So is there anybody who'd like to make a public comment this evening?
I just see one person online. If she wants to speak, she could raise her hand so we know. Otherwise, if not, then you can continue with the meeting.
Okay, seeing none, let's move along. So next item for our agenda this evening is approval of minutes. So first up is the October 17th special meeting. Thank you, Emily, for getting these all up and ready for us. Can I get a motion to approve the October 17th special meeting minutes?
Motion approved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Beautiful. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Dave is now on, just so you know.
Hi, Dave.
Hi, Dave.
Hi, Dave.
You can unmute yourself.
Can't hear you.
We can't hear you. You
You're
have to
muted.
unmute.
Unmute. How about now?
You're good.
Perfect, okay.
Yeah. Hope you're feeling all right.
Oh, thank you. Well, definitely better now.
Good. We had it a couple of weeks ago in our house and it was zero fun.
Yeah,
So,
no, definitely not a good experience.
yeah, not your big. Okay, Dave, just so you know, we just approved the minutes for the October 17th special meeting. So we are now onto the minutes from the October 22nd special meeting. May I have a motion to approve those?
Motion to approve.
Beautiful. May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions?
Abstain.
Beautiful. You were absent that meeting, right? Perfect. Thank you. Okay, moving along, November 7th, special meeting. May I have a motion to approve those minutes?
Motion to approve.
May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any abstentions? Anybody opposed? I think I did that out of order, but you all. Beautiful. Okay, so we are all set then with all of our special meetings, of which we have had many. Okay, next item up for discussion and possible action is to set dates for the 25-26 calendar year. We had tentatively proposed meeting on the 4th Wednesday of the month at 6:30. As that was a date that seemed to work for most of our commission members and also not conflict with the many meetings that happen here. So take a look at those dates. Check your calendars.
The only conflicts were the holidays for November and December, so I put
Right.
some alternate the week before dates if you so choose to go with those.
20th. Oh,
It's the Thursday before Thanksgiving.
a year from now. So.
Yeah, I know.
right. I know.
Hard to figure out if you'll be here from now. I'm lucky if I
Yeah,
know
I'm
next
like-
week.
Well, the 25th is the Tuesday, but that's right before the holiday, so I thought that was a little too close. That's why I went the week before and pulled the
Yeah.
Thursday before. I figured it's not in, the week of the holiday.
Right.
So,
Am I correct in thinking that if we set these dates now, but then needed to make a change with the dates down the line, like a year from now?
well, here's what's gonna happen. You approve this calendar, I
Yep.
will make whatever necessary corrections on it, then I will hand it into the town clerk's office. Those now become your official regular meetings. If you so choose to cancel one of these and reschedule something, then that becomes a special meeting.
Okay.
Okay, so that's where your agenda is very succinct to a
Correct,
special
right, you
meeting.
can't add
But with a
anything,
meeting like tonight, with a regular meeting, you
Right.
have the opportunity to amend
right, and add
if you need
items.
to.
Okay.
Okay,
I'm just thinking like, if we get to like November or December,
Right.
for example, like when
Right.
people are a little.
I mean, it's summertime too, you may find,
Oh, yeah.
you know, people are away, there's a lot of people are away, so you may decide to alter one of those summer ones because of people's vacations too.
Mhm.
So,
We need to think about it, honestly.
yeah. So
But as
that's
long as we get a quorum. Every two those meetings.
right,
Correct.
correct,
Right.
We can
correct.
Make it through the summer.
right.
And hopefully there's not too
Right,
much going
August.
on in the summer because camp's already running and everything should be in place by then.
Right.
We'll be about it.
I mean, the
Yeah.
August one
I
should be
do
good
too.
because that's festival at that point.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And I mean,
I'm like, wow.
should we even end up eventually canceling one or two? I mean, we'll
Yeah.
still be meeting on a far more
Regular
regular.
basis.
I mean,
Yeah.
these are for 25, but you still have about another 5 or 6 weeks left of this, even with the holidays, but you've got Bethany Hoop, so you may decide you want to
Another
do
special
one the
meeting.
beginning of
Right,
December, which potentially would have to be the Thursday. So.
right, okay. Does anybody have any conflict with these dates?
My schedule does not go out that far yet. No, it's
No.
fine.
Most of us don't,
Right.
we approve them as is, and if we end up canceling.
Oh, so we just have to make a decision, though, right, for the,
For the December.
Oh, we
and
have to pick
November
those now.
ones, yeah,
I mean, I would prefer that we do the 20th, not the Tuesday before
Yeah.
Thanksgiving, because
Okay.
that
20th and the
is
18th,
a crazy
yeah.
time.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And then is the week before Christmas, the 18th, is that okay as well?
I mean, it sounds fine to me
Mhm,
now.
Yeah, right?
Well,
Sounds
yeah,
fine
I
now.
mean,
I could be.
I'm just
looking
thinking
into
like,
Zoom, I don't know. Who knows?
I mean, I was also looking to make sure there weren't any other holidays
Yeah.
or things that had a
Right, that we were
conflict.
gonna bump
Yeah.
up against. but-
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. Okay, so, we're gonna go with the 20th, right, for
Mhm.
November?
Yeah.
And the 18th for December.
Yes,
Mhm.
okay,
Okay, and all the other dates are basically, at first I put the last Thursday, and then I realized when I looked at the calendar that there are 2 or 3 months that actually have 5
yes.
Thursdays
Right,
in
I
them,
think
so
this-
that's why I
this
went
month,
with the
right?
4th
Mhm.
Thursday,
Okay,
so.
so can I get a motion to approve the meeting dates for the 25-26 calendar year?
I'll make a motion.
Beautiful,
As amended. Second.
okay, and then Emily is
Mhm.
seconding that motion, any discussion, any additional discussion
We're approving it as amended.
as amended?
the-
Well, it
yeah,
really
for
isn't,
20.
I mean, you're basically, you're proving it with these dates as,
Okay,
But we'll go with the
as
20th.
selected, yeah.
For clarity, yes. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Abstentions, I think
So
that
I
was
will,
everybody.
make the final version of this, and what I'll do is I'll send it out to everyone too, when I send it, submit it to the clerk's office.
Perfect, and then they posted on the website?
Well, they have a calendar that they,
They
but
maintain,
yeah, every
Perfect.
commission and board has to approve calendars
okay.
for the 13-month
Fantastic.
period. Yeah.
If we wanted to have them posted on like the Park and Rec page on the
Yeah,
website,
you could,
just
yes,
ask Leslie, who, I don't know
who's doing the page
Yeah.
right now, we can figure that out,
Okay.
we'll get it out.
all right, do you want me to email it to her, or are you gonna email it?
I
to her?
can do that.
Okay.
I can do that.
Thank you. Fantastic. Okay, so moving on to number 5, discussion and possible actions of policies and procedures. Can we do we have to do a motion to change the agenda order?
Order, yeah, you can just motion to move it to the end or however you
Okay.
want to do it.
Can I get a motion to move agenda item 5 to, after number 9, since that's gonna take us the
Mhm.
bulk of the
so
time?
moved.
Second,
Second.
any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Perfect, okay. Okay, so let's go to new number 5, which is outstanding balances with. Park
Just
and
stick
Rec.
with the numbers the way they are right now, because what you can do is just, when you get to 5,
Got it.
it's a
Okay, clarity.
located 5.
that sounds perfect. So Eric, thank you for making us all aware of that discussion at
Mhm.
Finance Department. Leslie shared with me that there were invoices that were going to be sent to 22 families with like a letter just kind of saying like, hey, you may not have even known that you had a balance, but you have a balance, please pay the balance. We've tried to check to see if there were any reasons you wouldn't have paid the balance. And so those went out.
Okay.
Um,
those going out by email or snail mail?
Email. I'm
email.
telling you out of experience, I got one. It was
I
this morning.
Okay,
Yes,
This
okay.
morning.
Okay,
Thought that we were in the coach.
yeah,
I was like,
but it is really confusing, so I'm like, and so I,
Yes.
cause I said, I'm like, any of us could owe money and just not
Yeah.
even know it
Wondering
because,
if I got
well,
one.
that's what I said, I was
I
like,
wasn't surprised that I
Yeah.
got one, but I was surprised at the amount because I was, and I believe, I have to look, but I'm sure lots of families are in
Mhm.
the situation. I believe also there was a check that I thought I had paid that
Right.
clearly didn't get credited, so
Got
who
it.
knows where that check is, but I have
Right.
to look back in my account
Right.
now and see if
Right.
it was ever cash, but I
Right.
wasn't paying close enough attention.
right,
And obviously, no one in
Right.
person.
Right.
acted
And honestly-
yeah, and I did that, too. Like, when I would pay, sometimes I'd remember what my login was, and sometimes I wouldn't, so I would like, I was always like, well, who,
Yeah.
so I like that.
Leslie also just kind of said, in our correspondence back and forth, that like, they really at this point don't have any understanding of how billing was previously handled,
Got it.
so I did provide her with some context as somebody who has used the program for the last 2 years, that prior to moving to my rec, I mean, you literally just every month calculated it on your own and determined if there were any discounts you were eligible
Right.
for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Based
Said,
on
"Does
local
this sound
siblings,
right?"
and
They said,
Yeah.
Box.
yeah, and like you just paid it, I mean, like I used to pay online through the Webster thing, cause that was easier for me, but if you sent in a check, I mean, it was,
Yeah.
you never received an invoice or a
Right.
hey, you owe, or any
And it
communication
was never,
ever.
this is how much you owe. It was, for me, it was always, is this how much I owe? Does this sound right?
Right.
Huh? Sure. Here's
I
my.
think I think many of us just
So-
assumed this was the way it was, right? So we just kind of like did it just
Yeah.
because.
Sure. The good thing though that I
yeah,
explained to Leslie
yeah.
was that by moving to my rec, it auto calculates
Yeah.
it for you, so when
That's
you
good.
enter in however many days your child was going for summer camp and whether they were using the before and the aftercare, it automatically calculated it for
Good.
you and maintained it
That's
electronically.
That's
So
good.
that part was really nice, but yeah,
Mhm.
unless you've logged back
Yeah.
into my rec, like you would have no
Yeah.
idea that you had a
Yeah.
balance.
Should how should people, so sometimes stuff goes to spam. How did the email come through? I'm just thinking of like the CT said stuff, but
I
like,
mean, it came
did it
into
come from,
my,
did it come from like Leslie? Did it come from, just to let people know, like if they're questioning that, like how they might get, cause
I
like,
said her name on it, but I don't
Okay.
remember what
Because if
the.
people aren't
'Cause I'm
regularly
thinking, like-
checking their spam, they may not know
like,
Yeah,
that.
it
when the
does go
state
to my
sends out like
spam.
their new IEP system, it says no reply and people sometimes will not look at that.
Right,
So that's why I just wanted to make sure if people
so it
wanna.
came from Bethany Park and Rec, it didn't come
Okay.
actually from Leslie.
Okay,
I mean, it came
She
from
must have
Leslie,
done it
but
through
she
the-
signed the
Yeah.
email, but it
Okay.
came through my rep.
Through my rec, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay, so,
So-
okay,
Well,
Yeah.
if people
All right.
are regularly on that, then they
Correct.
should
Then they
get it.
should
They
have it.
should
Right.
have it,
Okay.
yeah.
And did the email include in case, like you said, you paid, you have copies of the check?
It does
who they can
indicate,
contact
yeah,
if
it does
they- Yep.
indicate, like, if you have questions
Yeah,
or
yeah.
concerns. And then she did state that originally they thought that the outstanding balance was like in and around 42,000, but they were able to reduce it to just over 26. But I think like cross-referencing,
They,
like
they
attendance
checked, they checked
records and.
attendance and a bunch of things to see,
Right.
they really did their due diligence
Correct.
when,
Tried
when
to-
trying to verify who
Right.
owed what and when and
Okay.
how. So, yeah, they really
So they
did some-
reconciled the account.
as best as they could
Because
to,
there
yeah,
were a
because
lot
they,
of
with
families who
attendance, some people may
Yeah.
have paid for a certain number of
Got
weeks
it.
and then did not attend for those
Got
full
it.
number of weeks, so they
Right,
kind of
right.
credited
Right, they made
for that, they made the
adjustments.
necessary adjustment,
Got it.
yeah.
Okay.
But it's
That's good.
26.
So it's, yeah, 26, it's just over 26. So basically what her ask of us at this juncture was just as we're continuing with policies and procedures, just putting something in
Mhm.
about like the formal registration, refund and payment process and what the
Right.
expectations are. And we had already kind of started to have some of
Yeah.
those conversations.
Right,
So I don't know that there's any other,
Was there,
Actually,
is there like a roster from my rec that we could print, like these are the people who paid, these are the people, the only people who should be attending programs?
Right,
well, I think it might be like, I like that, but then I'm worried like someone like Emily who's saying like there was a check missing or like cross-referencing.
No, I don't mean that, I just
Yeah.
mean going forward,
Oh,
people,
yeah,
like,
yeah, it should-
we have a roster for Bethany Hoops Day One,
Yeah.
these are the people who
Yes.
paid, anybody else
Yeah.
comes in, oh, okay.
yeah.
No, cause that happened.
Oh,
last
yeah,
year.
no,
No,
they should be paid in
prior to
full,
that.
right? Didn't we put
Yeah,
that as
we
a
did
policy?
say
It was like
something
paid in
about,
full
you know,
before,
same-day registration.
Yeah.
correct,
But
yes.
then I think, I wonder if going forward, I don't know enough about my rec, but if there's a way to set it so that you actually can't register for
Yeah.
anything if you're balanced, if you have a balance.
yeah, Yeah.
I imagine that moving forward, there probably is
Mm.
a way to do that. So we can, once we get to the kind of finessing that policy
Yeah.
language around that,
Yeah,
we can have that discussion and I can check with Leslie and Jen when she's back, to kind of make sure that we have that language in there, that like,
Yeah.
you can't have an outstanding balance in Rochester.
yeah,
Right.
definitely putting that in our
Yeah.
policies is,
So again, I don't think that there's any, there was no ask of us to do anything but
Okay.
to consider some sort of policy that will be supportive of this moving forward.
That makes
But I don't
sense.
think that there's anything that we need to do at this juncture.
yeah, that makes
Um,
sense.
Any other thoughts? Feelings?
Are is there like a timeline for people to pay that balance, like to pay that balance?
A really good question that I don't
There
remember the
wasn't
answer
anything
to.
in
I'm so blind.
No, I know, I hear you.
But there was an offer to call and make a payment. claim,
Yeah.
and you'd have a
Depending on what the
Yeah,
balance was,
yeah.
if people want, yeah.
Right.
That's willing to work with the families, yeah.
Yeah, it sounds more just like, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
But then going forward, we put a policy in place that if that balance is not paid prior to whatever, the next thing we do for Parks and Rec, you won't be able
To
to.
register.
So I like, should we put a number on it? Like, if you owe more than X amount, like, some people were knowingly beating the system, and I know that.
Yeah,
Mhm, yeah,
Like,
I think
Yeah.
we can do that going forward and like, so where I work and we
Yeah.
manage tuition and fees.
yeah,
Right.
We have a very solid system for if you haven't paid for 2 weeks, you get this letter. If you
Yeah.
haven't paid for 4 weeks, you get this letter. If you haven't paid for
Right.
6 weeks, your child cannot come anymore.
Right.
You know, we could set that up for going
Right.
forward, but I feel like the back is
Yeah.
such a mess. There's, I don't know that we can
Once, I
help
mean,
finance.
are
do
we
it.
able to treat it like back taxes? Like, it is theft of service, like, people came and used the Parks and Rec
Right.
programs and didn't pay, and can we tie it to other things, registration or car?
I mean,
No,
I think
I
that
think
that would
you
be
can't
on
touch
our,
that stuff.
right,
No.
that would be
I
beyond
think it's
our
up to
purview.
finance department,
Yeah.
from my perspective, any
Yeah.
past balances
Mhm.
before this
Right.
commission came on
Right.
and tried to, it's finances.
I also
Right.
think,
And they-
and I agree, right, like, if you send your child to use these services and you knowingly didn't pay for them, like, that's super messed up.
Mhm.
But I think that the only people that they know of are the people from this past summer, once my rec went
Right.
in.
Mhm.
Before that, I mean, I have also heard similar stories
Yeah.
about people who sent their kids, you know, all year to aftercare and
Yeah,
never really paid. So, you know, and we don't have records and we don't have a way to touch that.
yeah,
It's unfortunate
Yeah.
for those of us who did that,
Yeah.
yeah,
but. You know, it is what it is,
Well, and it sounds like finance acted on that anyway by
right?
billing them.
Correct,
Yeah.
for summer, for this
Yeah.
past
For
summer,
summer,
yeah,
yeah.
once they went to my rec, there are clean records. So I think it's a clear case for like needing to maintain, whether it's my rec or ultimately we move to something else, like some sort of online registration system and billing system.
Mhm.
So that there are really clean records.
Yeah, and like
I think my
payment is
rec
due by
is
like the
an
12th of the
improvement
month
what that
for,
was.
Yeah.
like if for the month, like if aftercare opens back up.
Right.
You know,
Yeah,
and then, you know, summer camp
right,
has gotta be paid.
right.
I mean, it was, you know,
Cause summer camp, I think when you registered, you had to
Yeah.
put down a certain percentage of
Yeah.
the deposit.
yeah,
And then there, it didn't ever prompt you to pay anything more. So like once you paid the deposit, like
Mhm.
unless you logged in to do something, like it
Mhm.
was almost like a forget
I
it.
feel, yeah, I
So I
feel
wonder
like
if
that there,
there's
we
a
might
way
wanna
to
do like
set-
the week, like the week, like, cause I remember like. When our kids were at Surrey right, it was like the week before that, like the
Yeah.
the payment came.
Does the
It came out.
JCC, is it the JCC or is there some place that, like,
think
they
it's
have
a
a credit
credit for them.
card attached?
Yeah,
So that
JCPs
they
are
automatically
charged.
Yeah.
charge the card,
Yes.
Yeah.
every week or however.
Yeah,
it's
JCP
set
is
up.
monthly,
for
so
us,
I
and
think by the
just
first
take
of the
out.
month, they bill you for that.
And
month
it's
coming
charged
up.
Yeah.
to that
It's just
particular
charged
card.
automatically, yeah.
I mean, I think summer camp, to be completely honest with you. When I've done other summer camps, I have to pay before, like like when my son's done like any of his sports camps or whatever, it's like I have to pay.
Right, before you. receive
Before you even
services.
go, so I
Right.
think if they're not paid, I mean, again, that's for procedure stuff, but if they're not paid, then they unfortunately can't.
I think the only hesitation on that, but that's not our issue
Yeah.
or finance's issue,
Yeah.
it's the programmatic side, is like,
What
that
can I
puts
do?
counselors or whoever's there in the morning in the position of saying, no, sorry, you can't bring your
Right.
kid today because of financial reasons.
Right,
And if
But that's for the
Yeah,
director.
the
to figure
director will be,
out.
like, they're not
Right,
registered,
right,
like, they're not registered, yeah, they're not registered.
Right.
Yeah, no, yeah,
Right.
I mean, they're not, and whoever's running the summer camp, that,
They have to do
yeah, they
that.
would
Yeah,
have to do,
absolutely.
you know, but, because otherwise I do think people may potentially take advantage again and just drop their kids off and say, oh, I didn't,
Right.
I didn't know.
But I do like to, like, the
Yeah.
proposal you, shared, Emily, of like, right, you know. At the 2-week mark, we send you this letter, at the 4-week mark, we send you this letter.
Do you have samples of those letters?
Yeah.
But for summer, for summer camp, though, for like, I can
And
see
we
that
can
for
make it
after here,
stricter.
but for
Yeah, I
summer
mean,
camp,
obviously,
that,
that's
you could have, like,
leave.
you could have a month, and that's like, it could be. $1,200 at that point that
Correct.
they owe that we may never see, and I think summer camp.
Right, you may have to,
pay, you
yeah,
have to
you
pay
may
for
have
that,
to
that's
do
kind of
it.
how it is,
Right,
you
that it has to
know?
be paid
Yeah.
upfront.
You
before
can't like show up at Holiday
starts.
Hill and say, hey, I'll pay you next
Right.
week,
Right,
you know,
right,
I mean.
yeah.
Right.
Can't even get a Planet Fitness.
Yeah, right, exactly,
$20 a month, yeah.
yeah.
And I think, if we're not at the, like, kind of
Yeah.
tight deadline that like we were at this past year, right, like
Yeah.
people can register in February for
Right.
summer camp and
Right.
then be paying
Right.
through, because I am
Mhm.
sensitive to the fact that,
Yeah,
like, for some people, it's thousands
Yeah.
and thousands of
Yeah,
dollars, they may not
exactly.
be able to just cut that in a check and.
no,
Right.
yeah,
So,
Four kids that she signs up, so it's.
Yeah.
it's-
Right,
it's-
no,
I
yeah,
hear you.
yeah,
it's
it's-
it's like a really nice European vacation for your children.
Yeah.
Definitely. Okay, so I don't believe that there's any action,
Mhm.
though we'll have to revisit just like the payment policy when we get to there.
And Leslie may have some suggestions and help too, because
Yeah.
she is dealing with
Yeah.
the MyRec right at this point.
right, so,
Right.
and especially
Right.
she'll know like some of the logistics
Right.
of what that system can and can't do for us for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so we okay to move on to number 7?
Mhm.
Okay, so number 7 was a discussion and possible action about the director job description and posting. So in one of the many earlier meetings that we had, we did come up with a sample.
And I don't have, I just haven't looked at that in a while.
I'm totally with you. What is the password?
I mean, if you're not prepped, you can postpone it to your next, if you have a special meeting, you can do that if it's in a couple of weeks, depending on how quickly you have your next
Right.
meeting.
I was really hoping we can post the position
Oh,
around
I
the
mean-
new year and try to get. But I don't, I haven't.
When is our next meeting?
Well,
We don't-
that's what I'm
okay,
saying.
like
I mean,
January. Yeah, no, we can't wait.
Well, no, if you,
If we do
any
a
meeting
special.
that you call from this point to the January meeting would be special meetings.
Right.
So it would be specific agenda items.
I know everybody really loves to meet.
I just have a question. Are we close enough? I mean, I feel like at this point, if we have something, why don't we post what we have and to see what we start getting for candidates? It doesn't just make sense to start getting this posted because, so we can start moving forward, because I think hiring the director is gonna be a key,
Mhm.
a key item that we need to accomplish. So it'd be good, I think, to start moving it forward a little bit.
But it needs to be a very
Do we know when,
good.
yeah,
Job description.
so here's a question I have with that, do we know where this investigation is? Like when the results of the town-based investigation are coming out? Okay.
I'm not involved. so
Yeah.
I don't.
I was just, I mean, it's, cause I don't know, maybe like the commission should like be involved in, and I know you're not, but in that discussion a little bit of like, especially when it comes out, because there could be things about the process or what they're recommending that we may wanna put into that, but I don't, if it's like a 3 more months, I don't think
And
we
I
should
don't
put that
know.
out either, but like. are
So,
there
so
gonna be-
here's,
I don't know enough
this
about
is
the
something that's,
investigation to know if there's gonna be recommendations of, of things that should be, I don't know.
honestly,
is-
I mean, I think it's something, if we follow the skeleton basically of somebody else, what they're posting, we got to get something out. If we're waiting for the investigation could take months, it might be a year. So I feel like at this point, we've got to move forward, regardless of what the investigation says, we're going to need to hire a director. So I really don't think
No,
it's going to be that
it was a
granular where it's going to explain what we need for traits in the director.
No, not the state one, the other one was supposed to be.
No, the one we're paying for, but I don't think they're gonna say
Yeah.
in a report. They're gonna look for whatever, either A, there's fault, whatever the fault is, or not. They're not gonna say, hey, by the way, in the next director, you should hire X, Y, Z. It's just, it's
No,
not gonna be
I
that kind of
wasn't sure.
investigation.
No, I wasn't sure if the investigation, because when you watch the meetings, there were so many different things people wanted. That I didn't know if it was almost like an audit of Parks and Rec too, to see like what should be in place policy wise. That's why I was asking, but I don't want to hold off on it. I was just curious if it was anywhere close to giving us stuff.
I don't know, to be honest.
Did you
Yeah,
guys
I
see
actually, I just think we're gonna have to operate independent, and when it comes, and we can we can make adjustments after that, but. If we keep waiting, because one of the things that people I think want to start seeing is things done here. And, so I think we really need to move forward with that. And then we gotta, when we start talking about policies, which obviously is coming later, those are the other things people are really
Well, no,
looking to have
yeah,
done.
people, I think people right now, to be honest, from what I've seen some members of the community say, they want policies and procedures now, before anything is even put in place, but, so we have to, yeah. We have to really focus on both of those.
Putnam, I saw, if you saw on the CRPA, they
Yeah.
posted theirs, I think that's a similar sized town, it's probably
Theirs was
pretty much-
good, yeah.
what we're
Yeah,
going
and
for.
I think the salary range was kind of what I was talking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
I'm not a member on that, so I wouldn't say,
Yeah,
unless it's open to, is it?
It's just a
by the
list,
public,
Well,
or
it's
is it
probably,
just-
like, you probably could Google it and find it, but they
Well, their
do,
jobs may be, public. you know,
yeah.
Like their
Yeah.
posting site might be,
Yeah.
I'm
might be
sure it's
public.
posted, they just happen to send it to the listserv too.
Yes, a lot of things have been coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I so
Oh,
much.
once
So
they have
much.
your
We gotta
email,
hire
they're
some
sending
bands.
you a bunch
Sending
of stuff.
everything.
Okay.
We're gonna, if you wanna hire bands, we can totally hire bands. They're already booking.
Fun.
Wow.
The Carrie Boys, great new tribute band,
That website.
Mischief Band.
I get all their emails, but I can't.
I know.
I'm not sure.
Maybe I just.
no, so we want to do with that, Chap posted them.
So, I mean, I am-
The recreation director.
personally of the mind of, I also think that we need to get it out sooner than later
Yeah.
if we're actually going to attempt to get like a summer program up and running, which I know a lot of people are hoping for. So I think we can do one of two things. We can either try to look at it now and finish wordsmithing it and try to get it up and running. Or we schedule a separate meeting that this is the only agenda item on. So that we can just focus on this, kind of like we
Make it like a
made so
working
much
meeting?
progress last time with policies. Between now and the winter holidays, but I also know that, like, between now and the winter holidays is a lot, like, there's, right. So, I mean, I'm happy to do either.
Where are we on it? I was gonna say, where are we on it now?
So there's a draft.
We were,
Yeah, there, we put together a
Pretty
draft in
far
one of the
along.
special meetings. Is it possible to run copies?
I don't know if you can share it to me somehow. Cause I don't think I'm doing it on this screen. Does everybody have it in their emails on their own devices?
I mean, I can turn that
Cause they'll be able to pull it up.
I don't know what's that.
Every time, like, oh, it's kind of checking out. Bethany, yes. You have it, right?
You got it on your phone?
Right.
That's what I'm trying to pull up.
Sorry, just making sure we're going off the one for Putnam. Is that the one we're kind of using as the,
No, we're looking at the director primary responsibilities document that we started. I can share it with you again, Dave, so it pops to the top.
yeah, if you would.
Absolutely. Or do you want me to share it with you too, so it pops up?
Wait, what is it? Town of Bethany, 1, 2, 3, what's the?
Yeah, all lowercase.
Oh, all
one
lowercase.
word. I know, that gets me every time too.
Why is this not?
Is it in one of the emails?
Yeah, I'll share it with you.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Um,
Is there a sign in for the meeting?
just for public comment. Um.
So reading, I mean, I think it looks good as is. Does anybody,
The
We
only
could
thing I
nitpick
was
this.
thinking, can we specifically mention Bethany Hoops, just because that's kind of a big program we hope to continue? So I don't know if it would go under program management in the same bullet as before and after school program, or in the additional recreational programs. It's a seasonal program, so I would put it in the first bullet, but that's suggestion. But I think everything else looks great.
Does the director do like performance reviews of people?
I'm sure he should.
Hmm.
Should.
Did I go under personnel supervision?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, it says conduct employee orientation, training and ongoing supervision to ensure high quality service delivery. Read those again. Conduct an employee orientation, training and ongoing supervision.
And it probably should say something about evaluation.
Evaluation.
Director primary responsibility.
so one thing I just noticed, and it might just be just clarification, on where it says airport, maybe we just say historic airport property, because it almost sounds like they're gonna be managing an airport if you read that quick, you know?
That's
So-
true.
Well, you don't know that
Right.
we're like,
I mean, that's the
Yeah.
first thing I think of as a pilot. I'm like, oh, there's an airport, you know, I'm gonna be managing an airport, so we might just wanna put that in there, that, hey, it's not like a real airport, it's, you know, a property from
Yeah.
a historic airport.
Run basketball, baking, and be a
Right, and fly a
flight
plane.
coordinator, yeah.
that's a very good point, Dave. Thank you
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah, there is that. And
Yeah, I just looked
yeah.
at that quick, I'm like, hey, that actually looks like a real airport, so I was like, oh, maybe.
Is it in facility?
Right on the top. Oh, that's the top of the document. Rentals of municipal spaces.
Oh, those just are, I'm sorry. So if you look at
Oh.
the, I don't know if it's the second page, the
Yeah.
third page, second page where it says draft description.
Yep.
That would be the only thing that we posted.
Gotcha.
The top part were just our notes that night that we like brainstormed all of the things that they were responsible for.
Oh, I
So we
got you, okay,
Yes, we wouldn't include the top part. It
gotcha.
would just be from page 2 down.
It's more of a
Okay.
genuine
Yeah,
description than.
but that is honestly a very good catch. Like, we'll have to make sure that we're clear about that when talking
Yeah,
about it.
what the airport is.
Correct.
Would definitely scare people
Is
away.
there,
Yeah.
policies also in place on, counselor conduct?
Those are some of the policies that we started at our last special meeting that we'll be completing in one of our next agenda items.
Okay, I was
So-
just wondering if the director has, ownership of that and the authority to revise it as necessary and come to the commission or to.
To revise their job description, no.
No,
The
not
policy.
the
Policy.
position, but
Policy.
the policy for, counselor's conduct.
So we have in there, in collaboration with the Park and Rec Commission, director will create, revise and update all program policies and procedures, but they would have to come through us as well.
Understood. Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
good point.
That's one of the things at the very bottom.
Yeah,
We
we've got to
have
figure out
find
a
a place
spot
for that.
to put it, yeah.
You know, because I've heard from people in town that there's counselors when they're outside with their kids and they're on their phone. You know,
Mhm.
using their cell phone and it's like, no cell phone while you're working, so, you know, that's the kind of things that I would like.
Yeah.
To see put in place.
Yeah, we'd go in policy and procedures, like a cell phone policy at work, like that would,
Maybe for
that would be in
emergencies
there.
or.
Yeah, leave it in the locker or in your safe area and someplace in the building.
So just move that bullet up to program management, the one about the creation and revising of policies, because we needed a home for that one. I think the CPR AED, is that you, Eric, working there? You could put that one under there, that top section too.
There's that personnel management.
Yeah, that seems like personnel management.
I do like this, the line, like looking at like Putnam's, like maintains positive working relationships with school officials, community groups,
Mhm.
public.
Mhm.
Because remember, like Brent told us, like, he's worked really closely with Parks and Rec, he does the training for like CPR, like, you know, they work with like Harvest
Yeah.
Festival, so like, the
Yeah.
person really needs to be in contact with not like community members, but community, like
Community.
other organizations, or like other, like within the town, like with the town run organizations, like they're gonna have to be connected with Public Works, stuff like that
Town
too.
departments.
Town departments, yeah.
and other organizations too,
Mhm,
because.
yeah.
Could be the
Yeah.
Lions Club, you could be
Resources.
doing
Yeah,
something with the
exactly.
Lions Club,
Mhm.
you know. Number of other
So
organizations.
Jamie, do you wanna add that in somewhere? I
Yeah.
added in the my rec.
I feel like I saw something and then it moved. Um,
That would go.
Under-
So that part there, the CPR,
Yeah,
AED,
probably,
DCF
yeah.
would go under personnel management as well.
mhm.
Yeah,
think
yeah,
so.
could, yeah.
Are we requiring a attendance at commission meeting?
Yeah, I'm just finding a spot to put that.
Yeah. Hopefully that.
Do you have like a duties and responsibilities, some kind of section?
Hmm.
So it's under, to me, that's more
All
like
of them.
program management, right? Like
Mhm.
attendance at monthly meetings.
Mhm.
That means somebody's trying to get it in.
I just let them in,
Um,
I just let them in. Like the doors up.
Mhm. And did you move the familiar with my rec preferred up to
Yep,
qualification?
I did it as a
Section.
position overview.
Okay.
I mean, I think it could go either,
Mhm.
and if you have a strong feeling about that.
And is there also a requirement for a root cause evaluations and when they have an issue, basically, that they present it to the commission and then come up also with the solution?
Mm.
They would need that skill set. We call it ASET at Sikorsky, right? When you come in, run across a problem, you document the problem, then you come devise a solution and you present it to the ACE board. And because you want to make sure it doesn't repeat.
So I think that goes like into that like into the policy, like when we're looking at like the role, like the job description versus what your like role and responsibilities
Yeah.
like are two different, like, you
Yeah,
know,
but
yeah.
someone needs that skill set to identify when they come across a problem, how do you use those skills to derive out a solution and make sure the solution is not repeatable. We call it ACE, achieving.
Right, I think that's like the ability to effectively supervise. And, you know, employees, like, so they have had experience in supervisory positions,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, but.
because not everything, you don't know everything that
People though,
Huh?
right? The director's job is more than people.
But
It's
super- like, it's-
managerial skills,
right, right.
looking at
But we have, like,
finances
we have that a lot, like, there's a lot of stuff like in
Yeah.
here about
In the
management,
program
yeah,
description,
in that, yeah,
or like a
And I think
position
that's a good-
overview.
yeah,
When we're doing
Interviews,
interviews, or
yeah.
part of the interviews, we can
Yeah.
try to really tease
Mhm.
out whether they have
Yeah.
those skills
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
problem solving.
Right.
Mhm.
Resolution.
Resolution,
Yeah,
yeah.
resolution.
Fixing.
yeah, cause like, you know, that like, so we probably should put in personnel management, ability to affect the, like, experience preferred and the ability to effectively supervise
Yeah.
and oversee, like supervise, you know.
Yeah, because we have, excellent communication, leadership and interpersonal skills, ability to work collaboratively with diverse groups and engage community effectively, strong financial acumen.
Acumen.
I never know how you say that word, with experience in budget management and grant writing. You know, they're like college certifications with a focus on program development and facility management. And then there's other pieces, right? Foster positive relationships with stakeholders.
Yeah.
Should we give, this might be, should we give that people who apply questions to answer, to submit with their application? I think of when
I don't think that town has the capability of doing that.
no, but if we're saying like, but isn't the applicant, aren't they sending letters in? It's not an online,
It's not, it just
Application,
says
it's not
submit a
AppleTrack.
resume and cover letter.
but I'm wondering if they should.
I'd rather just hear from that person. That's just me.
Well, no, it's like almost like a screener before, like, I don't know how many applicants we're gonna get, we could have two.
Right.
We could have
Yeah,
one.
that's, I think that
I mean-
becomes the big question, honestly, this isn't, I think, a position we're gonna be getting hundreds of applicants for, so why don't we keep something a little bit more generic? If we get to the point where we're getting hundreds of applicants, then I think that's a
We
great
could do it.
idea, but
Right,
if
and
we're
then we
down
could
to
do a
like,
screen. too.
Yeah, if we have like 3 applicants, we don't want to make it so it's so
Yeah.
intimidating, people only want to apply.
Well, no, that's just a normal part of applications. If you like when you apply for a teaching job, there's 2 questions that are asked on it.
Yeah.
It's just,
But what's
know.
nice when she said a in-person screen interview, you can watch that person's body language also.
Yeah,
When they
yeah,
answer the
people are not
questions,
good at
that tells a
interviewing
lot.
sometimes. So it's sad. I'm a horrible interviewer.
Huh?
Like interviewing, I'm horrible at it, but if you see me in it, it's.
I've
these are
been
tough.
interviews that
Yeah.
lasted for 2 hours.
Oh,
and
yeah.
nothing but
I know.
questions
I
by
know.
board members. It's
Oh, I know,
amazing.
yeah, no, I know, yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
can we,
Yeah.
Paula, the interested applicants should submit their resume and cover letter, to whom are they sending that to? We just
They
had an
could send it
X.
to if you wanna make
Town
it,
of Bethany,
you could
yeah.
say to the Bethany Park and Rec Commission, but you can use the town of Bethany email address. Then this way it's all funneling to one place,
they could
and then I'll
forward it
make a
to us.
folder,
Yeah.
and then,
When we post this, how long are we giving?
I'm not sure if in the CRPA, which is obviously one of the spots we're gonna post it. Did you guys see on the Putnam one, was there like a hard deadline, or is it just like until filled?
open until filled.
Part of me just feels like open until filled.
We have to do that. because
I think
that's-
keep it open till filled, because, you know,
That also saves. you
it's
from
gonna
having
depend
to-
what we're getting.
So it says
Yeah,
open till
keep it
filled,
open.
Putnam says
So we
it.
can just go
Yeah.
until filled.
Yeah.
Should we put the email address there,
Yeah, you
application
can.
process,
Anybody know?
town of Bethany at Bethany-CT.
And you can have them address a cover letter, and then what do you want them to submit?
Right now, it just says resume and cover letter.
Okay, do you want any kind of certifications, any kind of
Or,
Recommend letters of
letters
reference.
of recommendation, sometimes a
Usually that's what we
minimum
put
of
it
3
at.
letters, and have them be within the last year.
Mm,
Because-
Resume, cover
I think that's a great
letter.
idea, but I'm wondering if we just want people to send as quickly as possible a cover letter that's specific to this job and their general resume quickly, and then we respond back asking for those things before an
Well,
interview.
you could put
I'm
something like
gonna do that.
initial submission, we request initial submission to be a letter of interest and your resume,
Mhm.
and we will follow up
Yeah.
with, you
Does that
know,
make
But
sense?
Paul, I like your ideas, because if someone doesn't have a recommendation, they won't apply. So you kind of.
I
might
mean,
be
those, and
filtering out
usually
those.
people will have those
Yeah.
handy, if they're applying for different jobs, they will have relatively current letters of recommendation. When I was working in personnel, people were sending in letters that were like 15 years old, and I was like, no. You gotta have one that's like within the last year or so, it can't be.
I do like a letter of a recommendation though, because it does. You can tell if you've done enough reviews
Well,
of applications.
do we want
You can
them-
read between the lines, if
Do they
if
have
someone can
to-
look great on paper. And you
Oh,
read their
yes.
recommendation letter and you're like, oh,
Do
that
they have to
might.
do that or just references like we did with the,
I could tell by a telephone
program
call
coordinator?
if someone's going to be,
You know
The
what I mean?
letters are nicer than giving like the name, because sometimes people don't want people to know that they're applying for a position if they're trying to like leave, like, you know, like.
Although I feel like when you ask
But
for-
when you ask, when you get to the last round, like the last round, or you get ready to hire them, people will usually have that conversation.
So do we want
That's one.
resume and cover letter, or resume, cover letter, and the recommendation letters?
I would ask for the letter of recommendations, because if they're serious, they'll submit them. And if they've been
I think
looking,
it's
they're gonna
like-
have them handy. So it's not gonna be
One.
that big a stretch for them to include a minimum, you put a minimum of 3, because some people may send you more.
I'd say what about 2.
I would say two.
I would
Okay,
say 2.
all right. We
And
always do
I would
3.
go with the
I know, we
two-year
usually do
period.
3, but I
We
just feel like in
always
this
did
one,
3, that's
if we
fine.
do wanna do it like.
Oh, and you know, we could also put cannot be a family member.
Oh, yeah.
I just don't wanna.
That would
be-
be a
I
red
think-
flag
that's a
there
great
anyway.
idea. That's a great idea.
Although it
but
could have a
I
different
don't
last
wanna
name, but I
make
mean,
this
it can, you
Yeah.
know.
hard.
Is
I
it- but
wanna
this
get
is
as
part of-
many applicants as possible.
But this is part of like
But-
anyone going for a job, like that's
This is
like,
the test.
you
This
know,
is
like
part
you
of
all,
the
that's
test.
kind of what you always really kind of like ask for.
Yeah,
It's like an
Yeah.
application
and if it
packet.
filters people out, we would have
Yeah.
hopefully filtered them
Yeah.
out anyway, so.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
resume, cover letter, and a minimum of 2 recent recommendation letters.
Yeah.
Letters cannot be from family.
So I don't disagree, but also when we get the letter and we see that it's from a family member, then that could just be a.
Mhm. Yeah,
Like, we're not bringing you.
Could you
in.
put
Yeah,
a professional reference letter? Like a professional letter of recommendation,
That's good.
cause then it
I like
just,
that, yeah, I like that.
That's
Mhm.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
That word makes a big difference.
It sure
Yeah.
does.
Makes a big difference,
It's
yeah.
I've
everything.
really never had
Mm.
a job where I
Yeah.
didn't have a
Mm.
professional.
I know.
It's so foreign to
Yeah.
me that you would
You'd
ever
be
letter from your mother.
surprised.
Right.
She's she makes her bed every morning.
Yeah.
It's also not true.
She's
And here's the
great.
thing,
Like
when you
Seinfeld's mom.
ask for these
Did anybody
things,
not like it?
look at the setup. Look at how
Right.
it's presented,
Right.
because that's part of their attention to detail,
Absolutely.
how they
Nice
follow
non-errors,
directions.
yeah.
You look at the resume, you also look at the history of employment. If there are major gaps, if there, those are red flags as to why were they 2 years here and then there's a gap, and then there was 3 years here and there's a gap, and there's, these are things to, having looked at resumes for 20 years,
Mhm.
you kind of know what to look at.
Absolutely.
And
And once we
red
get
flags.
those right, we can have like a little screening party
Mhm.
before we
Mhm.
hold
Finger
interviews.
boots.
Yes.
Yeah, well, hopefully you'll have a good pool to pick from, and then you decide how many and how you want to bring them in for interviews and that kind of thing too, so.
All right, why doesn't everyone take one final read through it, and then I'll ask for a motion to approve it so that we can get this posted.
Are we posting the first page with it?
No,
Okay.
just the job description.
Is that how they posted it on the, Rec and Park Association?
Is there anything in there about hours required, like 35 hours a week, what do?
Oh, yeah, cause this one says based on a typical 35
Oh, really? Okay.
hour
Yeah.
week schedule.
Hmm.
If this one says like, the full-time non-union position is a salaried position based on a typical 35-hour work week schedule, frequent work during weekends and evenings as necessary related to events and programs. The expected salary ranges between 70 to
Yeah, I
80
don't
per
think we
year.
should tie ourselves into hours, especially not
That could be
initially,
something
'cause
that
there may
you
be
present
far
when you
many-
interview someone, those
Well-
can be particulars that you,
Should we put full-time somewhere, so it's
Yeah.
understood that they're not like just
non-union.
Yeah.
showing up
full-time.
whenever?
Yeah, I think. I'm wondering if we can just ask.
So it says
who-
willingness to
who
work
does the
flexible
formatting and
hours, including
posting of
evenings
job
and weekends as needed for
descriptions
events
in
and
general
programs.
for the town.
What's
Well,
the
I've done some of
expectation
them.
on
Only out of
9 to
necessity to
5
do
kinda?
them, intent out, so I will.
And it would be great if they, showed up to
Is there
the
a-
night events, the actual events, so it wouldn't be
Okay.
9 to 5, but still,
Pretty
there's gotta be some
standard,
sort of
The
hourly.
title, the job.
expectations.
responsibilities, The objective.
I mean, we probably should say something about that for the weekends or.
It does say that.
Yeah.
It says willingness to work flexible hours,
Yeah.
including evenings and
Yeah.
weekends, as needed for events and programs.
Now, if we're gonna require them to come to commission meetings,
Right, they're gonna have to work.
that's only regular meetings, right? And would it be every meeting? Cause that's a lot of meetings to require, I think. Like if you
That's
did
part
it
of the job.
quarterly,
It's like 2 hours
I
a
don't know.
month, right? So they just, and
Yeah.
still come in late,
Yeah.
on the day there's a
Right, they'll
meeting and
flex
then.
that time Theoretically,
and
right?
then, yeah,
And I mean, right now, we're meeting monthly,
Mm.
but I mean,
That's what.
we may not need to always stay
Right.
at that level of intensity.
but it's gonna be every regular meeting, right? It needs to be like.
It should be.
explicit.
It should
I think it
I think
makes
it should be
sense to have
all
a standing
meetings.
agenda item that is like the director's report.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
The director's report is one of the
Absolutely.
first agenda items.
So I think that
And it can be-
explicitly needs to be in the job description, though,
So
so
it,
they know that that's a
Like
requirement.
the
so
word.
it does say
monthly.
attendance at monthly commission meetings.
Oh, it says
Yeah,
that, okay,
yeah, it's under program management.
maybe I
So-
should read it.
So why don't we all, because I also did not finish reading it, so why don't we all take like 2 minutes with just, and if you have a thought about something that we don't have in it, make a note, and then we can go back.
Maybe where it says to attend the commission meeting, maybe and report. That's something that they
And
need to,
provide a
you know,
department report.
or something that they're gonna report, yeah.
If they've done the job before, they probably are familiar with some of those responsibilities, I would think.
Yeah,
But
but
every
you don't wanna
department
leave
is different.
anything open for interpretation.
That's true.
And turn around and say, it's not my job description.
Well,
But we do have
it's that last
collaboration,
line.
part-time commission, create, revise and update our program policies and procedures and attend and report at monthly commission meetings. We can make that just one paragraph too.
Yeah.
Attend and
other
report.
report, yeah.
Yeah, attend and
Dictated by the
report.
Commission.
That's right.
Monthly,
Yeah. See,
or
I
attend
like
and
that.
Yeah,
report.
it's always at the end of, and any other duties that may be
How
required.
about
for the
attendance
commission,
at
yeah.
monthly commission meetings for director's report agenda item? Or like something that actually has that language in there of what they're doing there.
Attend monthly commission meetings to provide a monthly department report. Something, is that what you're looking?
Prepare a monthly director's report to be shared with our commission.
I mean, we're also getting really technical in some of this stuff. too.
So,
Because like, I think of like any jobs that like I've had as an administrator, every little detail is not in that job description, like, you know, so like. If I have to go to board meeting, like I have to go to a board meeting on the 25th for a budget, that was not in when I was
Yeah.
hired, because you'd have
The
20
job-
pages of what,
The job
It's like
descriptions
general
sometimes
overview.
are a little more generic.
yeah,
Right.
Where when you're
Yeah.
doing the interviews or, you know, you kind of can elaborate on some of the
right,
more refined details and
Yeah.
responsibilities. Because if you
I-
lock yourself in that job description or that posting, then you decide to change something or add or whatever, you know, the job description is somewhat separate
Mhm.
from the posting. The posting is, we
Right.
are looking for this, and these are some of the general things we're looking
Right.
for. And then if they want a copy of the job description, then we provide them
Mhm.
with the job description.
Right. Like here they put for number 13, perform all related work as needed, so that's
Yeah.
like. Anything,
Yeah.
anything else that's in there, that as you get through the process and people say, tell me about this position, like you can,
Mhm.
you can share a little bit more, because we could get
Yeah.
stuck here and write a book. And I think, and then we're,
I mean, you could have a relatively short posting, and in it, you could say, if you'd like a copy of the job description, you know, please request it, and then we provide them with the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, whether here in the job description clearly state, present monthly.
Oh, yeah.
Directors report to
Yeah.
commission.
Yeah.
And
Did we have a chance to read it?
so they have.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's important too, because like, I think with the previous director, there wasn't a lot of like public trust,
Mhm.
you know, and this kind of like. Brings that back. a little bit.
So under program management, I just added related work as needed.
Mhm.
yeah, I think that.
Cause
Because
there's things that
are gonna
pop up.
up.
Yep.
Absolutely.
They totally
okay,
have.
so, I mean, I still,
Great minds think alike with it.
What are we
I
missing?
think there has to be something, because if they're gonna come back, so well, I didn't know that was the expectation.
For which
Mhm.
one?
Any of these, like, we're going through, but not having an expectation of how many hours they're working.
I remember, I said that at the last
You
meeting,
could add under salary full-time.
Full-time,
Full-time,
yeah,
non-union,
yes.
full-time,
full-time,
non-union,
12-month position,
Yeah, non-represented.
yeah, non-union,
non-union
full-time,
has to be in there.
12 month.
Yeah.
And if they're really interested, they will inquire.
Right.
They will inquire.
Right, because I do agree part with what you're saying, like, I think it'd be like, okay, am I expected to work 50 hours?
We got, I got all the stuff done,
Like 37.
Monday morning, good,
Yeah.
the rest of the week.
Yeah.
Salaried, you could work 5 hours or 5,000 hours. You're salaried,
That's right.
Mhm.
you
So,
work.
one thing, I mean,
hours.
I agree with the mindset of it, but when I've looked for jobs, and a lot of times it's not until you have an interview, is they don't tell you how many hours it is. So, a lot of jobs when they're posted on LinkedIn and things like that, it's a full-time job, it doesn't give you the hours, and then when you have an interview, they say, oh, by the way, you're gonna be expected to be on call. In addition to your hours, you're gonna be expected to be on call for this. If we have a network breach, you're gonna expect to do this many hours. So I've never actually seen the hours posted on anything that I've seen. So, just something to think about. I don't think that typically is. I mean, I agree it should be based on something. I think as it comes down
says
to,
Yeah, full-time salary
Full-time
position, yeah,
salary
yeah.
position.
yeah, I've never
Is
seen
that-
hours actually expected hours
With-
posted. Because a
with a
couple times
job
I've been
like
surprised
this-
when they say, oh, we expect you to work 80 hours a week.
Yeah, with a
Says
job like
salary,
this, you
full-time,
also have
12-month
programs that are potentially on the
Full-time,
weekend, so
12-month
you're,
salary.
But it says salary.
Yeah.
And then it says $65,000 to $75,000.
Well,
I'm not
some
sure with
people,
experience.
Yeah.
some people use the word salary incorrectly too.
Yeah,
So
Yeah, and that's what
Yeah.
full-time, again, we
You have to
we
say
said last
salary.
time, like,
You have to say salaried
summary
position.
might be
That's-
really
that's what I'm
busy, and then you
saying,
have
yeah.
some months where it's, you know,
Right.
you're not doing as much.
The
but-
salary may,
Get the
this is the
job done.
salary range, but it's a salaried position,
Right.
not hourly salary.
And then, yeah, we can go into,
I think full-time is kind of like a win-win on
Mhm.
like what you're
Yeah.
saying, Craig, but
Yeah.
also what
Yeah.
Dave's saying.
And it's flexible, yeah.
I think too, right, some of the difficulty is that a lot of us at this table are educators who have very clear contractual work hours.
Yeah.
Dave brings a different lens to it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because
Clear
you
work
are a salaried position that does not have contracted hours necessarily, right?
As
Like
an
you
elected
work
official.
until your deliverables are done.
It's
Right.
Um,
And that means
my
yeah,
hours
I know,
as
I
well.
actually don't technically have
So-
hours either.
And my role is
I have
like that,
salaried position.
but
Right,
being
but
in
your
charge of
teacher
certain
contract value
programs,
No.
it's generally
Yeah, but
expected
I'm
that I'm
at it.
either there at these times
Yeah,
of the
so
program or aware of what's going
whenever
on
they
in
need it.
delegating. So I think that's how I'm thinking of it,
Yeah.
that this person will not have set hours, but will have salaried expectations, but they don't have
Mhm.
as much flexibility because they run programs.
Mhm.
So they have to be
Mhm.
there. I think we have
Yeah.
to just explain that.
Yeah.
But saying
Yeah.
full-time.
But if
And
anybody's
it has
been
like
a
used to them
director,
then, probably.
they understand
Yeah.
how a park and rec
Yeah.
department works. It's not a
It's in
surprise to
7:30 to
them.
3:30.
Unless somebody's coming in
Right, yeah.
completely new and has no idea about a
Right.
park and rec department,
Mhm.
you know, they're gonna think it's a 9 to 5 job and, you know, that's not how it works because of the programs you run.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, let's post it up, let's go.
All right, so can I get a motion to post the director job description as we just amended it?
I'll make a motion.
I was
Wherever
gonna
we
say,
can
let's
figure that
make the motion.
Yeah, okay.
all right, if you wanna
Who's
send it
made
to
the
me
motion?
and then I'll make sure it's in a proper format and then I can
Dave
shoot
made
it
it.
back to you.
Quick second.
And then
And
we
we
can
all
submit
say-
it
are we all
to
saying
the,
aye? Are we all? in favor
I
of
with exclamation points.
it? Post it tomorrow.
Any discussion aside from that which we've already had?
Where are we posting it?
We're
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
post it as soon as possible to the CRPA website to
we can check on.
Indeed.
Yeah, we'll see
Can
wherever
we
else we
post it on
can.
the district.
Can we send it to like local,
Town
like
website.
the colleges that
We
have,
probably could send it
yeah.
to career centers
Yeah, I
and
was gonna
colleges
say.
and things.
That's true.
yeah,
Okay, but somebody
We
from
could
the
put it on
town
the
will take care of
town,
all of
what, we
that.
could put on the town
Yeah,
website,
it's not
we can
park
put it
commission.
on the town Facebook page, we can, so we have a few options of where we can put it on.
Okay,
That's why if you send it to me, I'll make sure I get it in a proper format that we can.
Yep, I'll
Put
send
it
that to you.
on the different things, so.
One of us who has CRPA membership is gonna have to submit it to them.
I'll send it back, once I know it's formatted or whatever, I'll
Okay.
send it back to you and.
I have
then,
still been unable to log in to CRPA, but I promise I will work on that tomorrow.
The CRPA, the listserv that we get a
Yeah.
ton of emails from. Looks like it works the same way that one of that the professional.
and this,
I'll look on
this, and this
and
might be
there's
good
just an
timing for
email
that
you send
convention that's
submissions
happening
to
too.
For that.
For that.
Like
okay.
maybe
Yeah, I
they
just
put
did that
postings
tonight,
at the
but I still
convention
can't log
center.
into, like the actual website.
Oh, are they gonna be at the
I'll do that.
convention?
Yeah, they're at the
Oh, that's a
convention,
different one, okay.
the 25th.
Oh, is that the one I'm waiting to
26th.
sign?
Yeah, that's what we're supposed to all go to, you know.
In that list,
25th,
we need to figure
26th.
out who
Okay,
Right.
no, cause CCM has
Yeah.
one we want to
Yeah.
follow.
I'll
The
be
fire
Oh,
at
no.
the
work is
workshop all
at
day
the-
tomorrow, so I'll play
This
with
is,
that
but
then.
but they maybe they'll have a section there.
Jobs posted. or
Yeah.
scrolling. Okay.
Okay, so we
Yeah.
got the motion in this.
Okay, so we have a motion, we have a second. Any additional discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion unanimous, motion passes. Okey dokey, look at
Mhm.
us. Okay, number 8, discussion and possible action about Bethany hoops.
I'm
Okay.
applicants.
Did we hire?
I have not, I did, nobody gave me like a final.
I sent it, I sent
two of
to
them?
you the
The
2
two?
reference checks from Jamie.
Okay,
Yep,
and you guys are happy with that and good, then I'll.
yep, we made the motion at
Okay.
last special meeting. We were pending positive reference checks. Positive reference checks
Okay.
were completed. And then I forwarded you the
All right,
email.
I
don't remember
will,
when.
yeah, last week, I think it was, so.
Yeah.
Okay, I will reach out to him and see, about filling out his, for finance contract
Okay.
and then the background check. And I have, found out about the DCF background check. Dave signed up for it because we apparently were missing one piece. We were on their list.
Yeah.
We just needed, they call it a token to sign in instead of like a password or whatever. So, Dave now has that. So we just have them fill out a form, he will submit the information and get the information back pretty quickly on that background check. But he also gave me the information for fingerprint background, because he has a code where I think the fee gets waived because he's putting it through the town as opposed to them individually submitting, but I'm gonna follow up with him on that. But he sent me some information on that as well, so your meeting Friday night, what time?
6:30
6:30, and that's here
here.
in this room?
Or in the other one, whatever's
Well,
open.
probably because you're gonna have multiple people. I think it might be easier with the chair set up here.
I would say no more than 10 people. I don't know how many chairs it's have. I think it's,
Well,
all right, as long as we have
there's about
access
a
to a
dozen-
board.
there's about
it's
a
fine.
dozen chairs around the table in the other room.
Either one's fine. I don't know, it doesn't
Okay.
matter.
All right.
How many kids do we have signed up now?
I'll give you the updated list. It's on if you have the policy list that,
Can I just one quick question? Is there, because Nick, I'm assuming will be in attendance Friday evening?
yeah,
So is there a way to ensure that he's onboarded ideally before Friday? before
Yeah, I'll
it
reach out,
happens?
I'll reach
Just
out to
to
him
make
and get
sure
it,
it's
yeah.
all.
Even if his paperwork is in progress, we know that
Okay.
he's okay.
all right, so the kindergarten through first program has 20 players currently signed up. Second and third only has 14. The girls has 10 players, the boys 4 through 6 has 27. We have how many sponsorships? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7 sponsorships. So pretty much all the sponsorships we wanted.
Everybody's
So what's that?
Everybody's paid?
Yeah, I still, there's no people I counted.
You run the numbers K120, 2, 3, 14. That's well.
2, 3, 14, yeah.
4, 6.
Girls 4 to 6 is 10, which is like exactly what we want.
Perfect.
And boys 4 to 6 is 27, and I still know there's some coming in.
Right.
That brings us to.
You
a
guys
total
stop moving
revenue.
around on the hardwood floor. Stop.
Dave, you're not, if you're talking to your son, you're not.
Sorry about
Knock it
Thought I
off.
was muted there.
You've been there.
So we have total revenue so far of $11,030. Anticipated expenses, 10,544, so we should already be in the green,
Oh, that's.
pending any unexpected, and that also, I'm assuming more people are gonna register. Because the K1 and second and third registrations are open until the end of December, because they don't start till January. 4 through 6 registrations are open until November 30th.
Are we
So-
looking for student volunteers for that? At all to help out or no?
For like the
Community
block
stuff.
and book and
Yeah, cause
stuff.
if you do, if we wanna give, like, if we wanna do like a write-up, you wanna give it to me, I can give it to Lynn Coco in the Career Center.
Yeah.
Service
At
hours for
the, at the
them.
high school, yeah,
Community
exactly.
service hours.
And she can, she can get some, cause I'm sure Nick, like, some kids too, but just to put it out there,
All right,
community.
Are we
Maybe
gonna have
there's some
to get
girls
them-
too that like.
are we gonna have to get them through all this stuff though, or they're not working with the kids directly, right?
And typically if they're,
I think if they're minors. they're
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
that's typical.
So the one thing I had mentioned was Team Snap, using it for the 4th through 6th grade programs only because. The price is based on how many people are using it, so as long as we're under 75. It's $599 for the season, that's for communication. So the coaches don't have to be giving out cell phone numbers and all that stuff, scheduling, so you can keep. You have your schedule in one comprehensive place, and then you could list availability, so the coaches know who to expect.
Is that under your expenses? Is that included in that?
That is not included in and that's, I figured we had to vote on that.
Mhm.
So that would still get us, if we were to do that, we would be down like $100. So once one more person registers, and we're still covered. We're still way better than last year, so. So Team Snap, did anybody look at the
Mhm.
information I forwarded?
Watch that video.
Yeah,
It's
I've
not
used
great.
it, for baseball for the past few years. I like it. It's one of the few apps that I really like. That I've been forced to use, so.
My granddaughter uses that and family members can select whether they're planning to attend.
Yeah, that's great, yeah.
Or you can watch the games live also, is that?
Oh, that's extra.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
not-
yeah.
let's not- Yeah.
No, yeah, it's pretty
We have-
cool. It's nice.
we have
Yeah, we got ESPN coming today. So do you want to vote on that? It's $599. There's no tax because it's a town. Do we have to
I
think
will
anything else?
spend that.
Yeah, I mean, if we're only at one player away, I think
Yeah.
it makes sense to do.
anticipate some additional
Yeah.
registration.
Yeah, and somebody talked to me today, I don't, Trooper Marion forwarded me a guy who wants to coach, so he's gonna come to the meeting on Friday night, and he still hadn't registered his kid, so that kid'll be in, and that covers it.
Right.
Yeah, so should we take a formal vote on that, or?
I think that we would need to, yes. So can I have a motion to approve purchasing Team Snap for the 4 through 6?
Both boys and girls.
Okay, it's up to 75 kids, so I almost wonder,
And that's for the season, correct? Just for the season?
I think it's 12 months,
Oh, for the whole year?
yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
although we only need it for the season.
You had
Right, but
mentioned
depending
season,
on-
that's why
right.
I didn't
Yeah.
know, okay.
Well, maybe you're gonna wanna do a spring.
Gaga
Summer,
ball.
maybe summer basketball.
Right, once the director's here, like maybe that is
Yeah.
a resource that
Yeah.
we'll use regularly.
Maybe
If
there's
we
something
have
else.
less than 75 students in total, would we potentially use it for all of them to facilitate communication? 'Cause right now we're under 75.
Yeah, definitely.
Probably over the top, but at least the communication piece.
Right,
would
and
be
just thinking
helpful
like
for the
sending out like
youth.
weather-related closure.
Yeah, we're
or-
at 71 total right now.
Right, so depending on how it goes, I mean, I'm hoping we're gonna get more than
I think
75
we
kids.
will, yeah. Again, I don't think we'll need it too much for the K1. It's
Right.
once a week and
Right,
it doesn't really matter
is-
if everybody shows up or not. It's,
If we pay for it and we have it for 12 months and we use it for 71 kids for Bethany hoops, and then in the spring, we want to do a different
you
thing.
can use it again.
It's not just for basketball.
It doesn't have to be those same 71 kids.
no, I
It
use
could
it
be
for
like
baseball.
75 kids
Okay.
total at any
I think
time.
So, yeah.
So Bethany hoops could be done and those 71 kids are cleared
Kick 'em
out of
out.
the team.
Is that the way it works? Can you
That's
like
what I'm
take
wondering.
people off of it?
Oh.
I don't know, I'll ask, so the lady keeps emailing me and texting me, so
That you
I
need
keep
to sign
telling her,
up.
yes, we have the meeting.
Regardless, I
I'll
think
ask
we
her
should
tomorrow.
do it, but that's.
Right, but it would be
just a
good to know,
question
right, could we
for-
reuse it again?
Because some.
Yeah,
Yeah.
can you reuse the
databases
license,
are
like, buy a
archiving
license?
things and that
Yeah.
archive still counts towards your max of 75.
Right.
Right,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
regardless, I
ask,
think
okay.
just for Bethany hoops.
Yes, it would be
I
worth it.
move that
Agreed.
we
Yeah.
spend this money.
Right, so we have a motion from Emily, a second from Eric, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Here's that, the agenda. for-
Craig, did you vote?
Aye. Nay, time updates, so I don't know how many times I've had to submit the school dude for Amity Middle School, and it gets kicked back, and Kristen calls me, she's very nice, very helpful. But the middle school sports has the gym until 5:45, so we can't get in there until 6 o'clock, so there's a slight change on the original times, but not by much, so we went from 5:30 to 6:30, 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock. And then the fourth and sixth come in after them on Monday and Tuesday, which was actually kind of where it was supposed to be anyway, so. Girls are now 6 to 7:30 on Thursdays. We've got the preseason coaches meeting on Friday night here. I shared with you all the slide presentation. Dave, I don't know if you had a chance to look at that. But I kind of just left the last slide just says Dave Pecoraro, so. I wasn't exactly sure what exactly you were going to be. What we're gonna have them go through as far as the training, if you think you can get that all done in one night, or.
Yeah, we could definitely do it in one night. I mean, it's basically what we did for the, at the end of camp, before we knew, Parker Run was gonna kind of go away when we were trying to get, things in. We had however many counselors were left at that point, 9, I think it was, and it's about an hour and a half training, so we could definitely get that done.
What is it
Now, are you
called?
shooting to do that? You want to do that this Friday at the coaches meeting?
Yeah, I'd like,
Okay.
so, I really wanna get the 4th through 6th grade coaches ready to go, cause it starts December, like, if the other ones can't do it, they don't start until January, so that's okay, but I also wanna just get a list. For background check submissions and the fingerprints and everything you said, so,
We've been
Okay.
writing that on, touch base with my Dave,
oh, okay,
for any of the fingerprint info and.
okay.
So in the
The
program
forms.
policies for Bethany Hoops, do we want to add, so it says right now, coaches and volunteers will be submitted to DCF for background checks, but we're also doing fingerprints, right?
So, yeah,
That's what we're saying.
Yeah.
I know we didn't do that for,
Is there a fee for?
I don't remember the last time. I-
That's why,
That's what
that's why I
Dave-
say, not for the DCF one. 'cause
No,
it's
for the
just a
fingerprints,
fingerprint.
right?
The fingerprints, I believe Dave has the code, they have to go up to Troop By to get
Yeah.
it done,
Right,
but then they submit it back to him or however, and then he.
So it's a DCF background check and a background check.
Mhm.
Um,
What's the
the
turnaround time on the criminal background check?
preseason
That should be
meeting.
relatively
It's
quick.
just
if
so you know,
he's
it's view only,
submitting
so like I
it.
was gonna go in and
Mhm.
add.
Cause I know DCF is quick. like,
Oh, yeah, I don't wanna
that's
be
like
touching it.
instant, but
Okay.
sometimes criminal background checks take-
I should have made the
Yeah.
comment or whatever,
Yeah.
what was it
Just, I was
say?
gonna say, but just so you know, to go in to add that, like that they will also have to submit fingerprints.
Okay.
In the policy there.
How many coaches do you already have secured and how many spots do we need to fill?
Nick is still working on the last year's to see where their interest is, because I know Gabe was paid last year and Nick was asking if he would do it on a volunteer basis, and he got kind of a mixed response, so
Mhm.
he's waiting to get a clear answer. But we definitely have four, I mean, we only probably have enough for 4th through 6th grade teams right now, so we definitely have enough managers for up to 4 teams, which is what I hope we get, otherwise it's a weird number. And then for Bethany hoops, sorry, for K1, I've had a bunch of people who have volunteered. The girls have had a bunch of people who have volunteered, so I've put it out to everyone who's reached out to me so far about coming Friday night,
Mhm.
but it's right around 10 right now, I think.
Okay. I'm just wondering. We might have to do it again, the same meeting again, right? You're really targeting the 4th through 6th grade ones?
Yeah.
And as many other ones as you've already secured, but
Mhm.
we might have to have them again if we get more coaches.
And anybody who's reached out, I'm just gonna put their names in for the background check and then have them come in, just have them come in and talk to Trooper Mary about the fingerprinting on their own time.
Well, what I'll do is he sent me an email. I will print out what he sent me and I'll make sure I have it for Friday night. For
Okay.
your coaches. Then I will put his phone number, and if they have any questions, they can reach out directly to him. As far as the procedure and stuff.
So yeah, on the slides, oh shoot. I have to re-download it. But basically just goes over the policies that we talked about, which is still the draft, so I wanna make sure we kind of bang that out so I can
Right.
send
have those
it
ready.
straight to them.
Yeah.
What they should do on the first practice as far as the evacuation stuff we talked about, the parent meetings, we all talked about the forms here that I gave you, the codes of conduct and the player information stuff, so they know what they should be doing, and then having a plan for signing in and signing out. It actually is easy to do to sign out, because when you leave the middle school, it all kind of like bottlenecks. So somebody's there on the way out, it's easy.
Did we
Check
decide to have a paper sign out sheet?
It'll be the same sign in,
Right.
so once we get the roster for everybody who's paid and everything, yeah. So they get checked in, and then when they go out, just check them out. Only at least 2 people there, one to stay in the gym and one to
Mhm.
get them on the way out. I don't know if this needs approval or anything, but I talked to the Amity basketball coach last night about doing a youth night at Amity High School, on December 30th.
The varsity coach?
Yeah,
I know him, okay.
yeah. So it's one of the few nights, maybe the only night that the girls and boys play at the same, both home. And it's over the Christmas break, so the boys play at 3 o'clock. Girls JV plays at 5:15, varsity plays at 7. Anybody who's in Bethany hoops will get in for free. Just to try to get a nice, December 30th. It's a Monday. It's a weird 3 o'clock boys varsity start, so I was hoping if the youth all came, they'd have a good home crowd for the Spartans. And I sent this to Orange's Recreation as well, so everybody's, and the BOA is on board.
That's good.
Parents have to pay that.
You'll
Give
force
outstanding
people.
that.
Yeah, they're gonna sell more candy than they've ever sold.
Oh,
that day. All right, so that's all I have as far as updates.
Okay. Do you need anything aside from us to finish all of these things?
Can I just ask one
For the
question because of the
coordinated
code of conduct? What did we put in last time? As far as if a parent or a child, I mean, I'm assuming all our coaches are gonna be fine and I'm assuming all our kids are gonna be fine, but as far as, I know we talked about injury reports. but what about a
Oh.
formal incident?
I did make
one of
Right,
those.
it was an,
We have to
like,
go
it was
through
an
all of
incident, right,
those
like,
still.
right, so, okay, no, I just wanted to make sure that they can, now, if an incident happens. Say, a parent files a complaint against a coach. Or another player. Does that come to us or is that going to Nick? Who is, because here's, just because this is happening right now in other situations. One of the things I have heard from coaches and directors and programs is that if you do have a commission or a board, it's better to go through the board and not the people that are seeing, like, not Nick handling it per se, because he has to interact with these people. And it could be one of those things where you're kind of like confronted in the parking lot about it if he has to make a decision. So it's just one of these things that we may not have thought about. I don't foresee things happening, but things can happen. Is it going to be something where we have to have like a special meeting and it's brought to us for us to, handle a
So, yeah, if,
potential
like,
incident
if
that
Nick-
happens? Yeah.
If it's above Nick's,
I'm thinking if it's like,
comfort
well,
level.
no, but I'm thinking, so
I'm thinking.
there's a
somebody-
situation right now in another sports league, okay? And the parents filed incident reports with the league. There was a parent meeting that was held. But one of the things was shared is that it goes to the commission, the board of. To be able to review this. And one of the specific things is that there have been issues where somebody, like, where you kind of remove the person who's in the day-to-day. To have them talk about the incident, like such as like if it's a bullying thing, or if there's like a fight, it's like it can happen, fights between a coach and a parent. Like in front of like other kids and stuff like that, and then coming up with what the disciplinary like action is, so something like that, yes.
Yeah,
I don't know, because it can happen, and I have seen it multiple. It's been ran Safe Sport
I think,
for another organization, so he had to handle this too, and it was good because he was removed. From.
I think this is a really good point, and
Yeah.
it speaks to sort of. Why I'm really glad we're doing this
Yeah.
commission and
Right.
going to have to answer that question a
Right.
million times in the future. The biggest question for me is what's the regulating body?
Right,
And the state of Connecticut licensing for childcare and the state of Connecticut licensing for after-school programs all say that you have to have a very, very clear complaint procedure.
Mhm.
To me, it seems like for this program, we should have a complaint procedure that says, go to Nick. This is the Bethany Hoops coordinator or the program coordinator. Bring your concern to that person, but then
He brings it.
He'll pass it.
to the commission.
Yes,
yeah, we have to
Yeah.
have,
Yeah.
and I think there's gotta be a gray area if it's, a lot of times your complaint procedure is just go tell Nick that you have this concern or this question and it's gonna be resolved immediately. But if it's something major, then
Mhm.
maybe we have to have them put it in writing.
put it in writing
Mhm.
and then the Parks
Yeah.
and Rec commission. has
Yeah,
to-
you want a paper
Address
trail.
it.
you want-
Right.
you want-
Yeah,
So there's no telephone,
yeah, exactly,
Paper trail.
exactly.
So put it in writing to Nick and then Nick will forward it to us and then. We'll act on it if
Mhm.
as needed.
Mhm.
So that be in the policy? What's in the policies then? Complaint,
Yeah,
Procedure.
but I wonder if it could also go in the parent spectator code of conduct, just something about.
Something like if there's, if you
Concern.
have a.
You have a concern.
concern,
Because
like,
that's part of.
You
the
know, it's
code of
ironic.
conduct is that
Yeah.
you'll address concerns
Yeah.
appropriately.
Yeah,
who's gonna, obviously. Not everybody who's gonna go to the games is gonna be signing this form.
right.
Sometimes the grandparents are crazy.
No,
and they're not gonna be-
listen, stuff happens, stuff totally happens, right? And any,
So it's almost like, the,
Approaches Nick with a complaint, say, here's your form. Sign it.
Yeah.
And then there's the procedure on how to file a complaint. I mean, that's a way to,
yeah, there's room to add that, so.
Mm.
Add.
because I like
Just
that.
not sure where this would go
Because it's
I know, I know what you're saying too, like,
Transparency.
if,
I think it should go into the policies
Yeah.
though, rather than the
Yeah.
code of
yeah,
conduct.
So
Yeah.
is there gonna be an actual complaint form they have to fill out,
So I think,
like an official thing?
I think it's too hard to determine, like, when you just said. describing a parent walking up to Nick and saying, hey, I have this concern. Oh, here's a piece of paper, you have to fill it out. I mean, a lot of times the concern is gonna be able to be addressed right away.
I think Nick can ask if they want it more formal, like if they want it formalized, to submit an email to
Yeah,
him, right? Like because there's
If
those
it's something
things.
that major,
Yeah.
then they'll take the time
Yeah.
to write an email.
Yeah,
The situation. will
any,
determine
like,
whether
we
it
could
needs a
put something out,
paper
like
trail.
any formal complaints, please submit in writing to, to Nick or the commission, because some people may feel more
They
comfortable
might
submitting
want
it
us to, yeah.
to the commission, like.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think you're right,
Yeah.
Craig.
Yeah.
The code of conduct is really worded very positively, like this is
Yeah.
how you are
Yeah.
expected to.
And if
be
they
a
follow
part of
Yeah.
this.
that, there shouldn't be any.
No, right,
hopefully,
Yeah.
any
Right.
issues.
right.
Yeah.
And like Craig's saying too, like say a family member comes in and is really
Obnoxious.
obnoxious, like you could have, you very well could. But you could, yeah, we can ask them to leave, but like, we may have people that wanna say, I wanna put like a formal complaint in against this person. To just be mindful, like that it's documented somewhere that so-and-so came in here and acted, a certain,
So that if
a
it
certain way,
happens
so if it happens
again,
again.
Then you have a
Yeah.
trail of the
Yeah.
behavior.
Yeah.
And to
And then
say,
you can-
yeah.
to the person
To
who's
the person
acting
who- yeah.
inappropriately, if you have a concern, this is not the way to deal with it.
Right.
Right.
so
Complaint
who should we
procedure.
put, that they're gonna put the complaint into? Should we put,
To the program coordinator.
Bethany,
Who then
Oh,
brings it to
Or
the.
the.
okay, I thought we were saying we didn't wanna have, like, people might not wanna say it directly to Nick, cause.
Well, no. I think
Why don't we
it's
just
like-
make it simple? If I could just interject here, why don't we just make it very simple? Hey, if you have a complaint, first make the complaint to the program coordinator. If the complaint goes beyond that and you don't get the resolution you want, email, and we put the board's, email up there or something along that line. Now it goes to the commission at that point. You know what I mean? Just keep it simple. I don't think we have to really make this.
I could put it me, but I'm gonna be involved with it,
Yeah, you should be.
So I think it should be me as chair.
Mhm.
Yeah, so have it go to the
Yeah.
chair.
Yeah.
That's simple.
Yeah.
To the commission
Mhm.
as a whole.
Mhm. If it's not resolved at the director, at the program coordinator's level, then you reach out to the chair.
JBL at BPRC.
Yeah,
But I mean, do we all agree that it shouldn't
Mhm.
be added to code of conduct?
No, I
should
put it in
be
the I put it in the policy, because the policy is like
Yeah.
clearly in there.
Back
And
to the
if people are
agenda.
looking to make a complaint, they're gonna know how to find
Mhm.
who to complain to.
Now, eventually, should the director be part of that chain?
I would think,
Once we
yeah,
have
Once,
director, I
yeah,
think
once.
so,
yeah,
yeah.
I think
We should get one of those
Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
okay. Anything else strictly for Bethany, scheduling, logistics? I'll need at some point to know, when we wanna pull the trigger on ordering the shirts.
Yeah, that won't be until probably December 6th.
Okay, that sounds perfect.
Yeah.
We'll coordinate at that.
And then
point.
we won't start game stuff in New Year, so.
That'll give us time to get
Yeah.
them, okay.
Do we wanna talk about the draft of the player information and consent form and the accident
I think
report?
that's all part of the policies too, right? I think, maybe just dive right into that in a minute. Okay, so anything from review of highlights of trunk or treat, any follow-up? For that,
You guys looked great.
fun.
And you had a nice
Wild and
warm
crazy,
toasty
but
spot,
fun.
I'm just saying.
Well, sometimes it's who you know, what your
You got
connections are.
connections, listen, you got connections.
Yeah. We'll make sure we have that spot,
I
Yeah,
wanna say we probably had about, well, some kids probably came by twice,
Some
kids,
kids
we
came by
had 400 of
times.
the wristbands and we gave out about 350 of them
yeah,
at our table.
yeah, no, it was
So,
definitely a nice turnout. It was a good night.
Yeah,
It was
I
fun.
think the kids had a lot of fun.
Yeah, I
you
think the
know.
basketball was a
Yeah,
great idea, like it
yeah,
worked out really
mhm,
nicely for them to
yeah.
have a little game to play,
Yeah.
even though they were wild and crazy.
No, kids.
Yeah, the good shot.
Kids hopped up on candy. No
Right,
way.
exactly. They all started to do trick shots.
Yeah.
Yeah. People were being beamed in the head with basketballs, but it was fun. Okay, so nothing for that, really. All right, let's go back to the main event. Policies and procedures,
Wonderful.
yeah.
I'm gonna go refill my water.
Okay. So if you've got the policy list from last time.
I can access it, I'm still not online, but I.
Can I just leave those things on there now? Those are just notes that I made on the top of the document until I put them somewhere else.
Well, now I wanna say to you, no, you do not get editing. But yes.
There before.
Um. No, but I'm 8 hours into, so I'm gonna do a page 3. I can't help it. My ADHD brain. Okay. So. Now that we've had some time to kind of like ruminate on these a little bit, did anyone, so the ones that were highlighted in green were ones that we felt like last time we were like good with, we had
Mhm.
completed. But then the charge was to kind of review these completed policies and make sure that we were good with them.
Mhm.
We can, the one at a time.
Yeah.
Okay. And Paula, do we need to approve each policy?
I think so you have it on record that you have consensus that you know, approve them, I think is not a bad thing.
Okay, here we go. All right, so why don't we do the ones that were in green first that we did last time, and then we can kind of just like hopefully somewhat quickly mark those off.
Oh,
So let's look at cancellations first.
that's good.
I have a motion to approve cancellations.
Oh wait, now we gotta add Team Snap. Parent guardians will be notified via Team Snap. Just put that.
I think we should still leave extra email. Like, in case,
Yeah.
God forbid something happens to team.
And again, that's for the other programs
Oh,
as
right,
well.
right, yeah, okay, good call.
Can Team Snap do both? Like, can it send a text too?
Yeah.
No, you send an email though. Depends how the coach sends it. So you get the notification, you get a little, a little alert on the app, and then you'd also get an email. Okay, so that's good.
We wanna make a motion to approve cancellation.
Motion to approve cancellations.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Drop off and pick up procedures. Am I remembering right that you created a dismissal form? Did you do that?
Well, the dismissal form won't come until we get the roster,
Right,
once registration ends. But we do have the other one that has the, who can pick them up.
for the player information
Yeah.
form.
Yeah. Yeah, the dismissal form is just gonna be a check in, check out.
We don't really need. So for Bethany Hoops, kids are not gonna be dropped off, we're asking parents to stay. Or is that just for the younger ones? I forget. The reason I'm asking is because the form, certainly if we're in charge, if the coaches are in charge of the kids, it's gotta have the name of, the
Yeah,
time and the name of who
it
picked
does,
up.
so this is the form. That I just linked in there. That has the name of the additional people who can pick up.
This one.
Yes,
Yeah,
but you're saying, right, like
we have to have a record if we're.
Yeah, so that'll be, once we get,
Have a record of who gave us liability of the child and who took back the.
liability. So I believe that we agreed that like attendance was. We phrased it so nicely, like encourage.
Oh, it's right at the top.
require-
K1 players required to stay, 2 to 6, grades 2 to 6 players, welcome to stay.
Mhm.
So I think it'd be great if we, I mean, I'm just looking at this and realizing that I saw that you were drafting these things, so I was like, oh, I don't have to do that, but I forgot that I was also thinking of doing a form, but it would just say the child's name, the time of drop off and the name of who's dropping off, and then the time of pickup.
Well, that's kind of what I wanted the My Rec one, so we have that, like the list of who's paid, that's what I mean, I don't know if My Rec offers that, but.
Right.
Once the registration's closed, we can make that form and then have date. You know, it doesn't really matter who dropped them off, but who's picking them up.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, it doesn't, I think you're right, it doesn't, you don't have to have the name of who dropped them off, but I
Right.
think it's advisable.
But maybe once we get that roster, then we could do like a form, just like with all of the kids' names who are registered for each of the different divisions.
Mhm.
And then a spot for drop off. And
Yeah.
a spot for pickup. Can everybody see the consent form? So we would collect this from every family with their name, parent, guardian, phone number, contact, all of that, and then any adult authorized to bring the player home from practice. I think we should also collect phone numbers for those people.
I was wondering that too.
Oh, is that on there?
There's a spot for additional contact phone number, but maybe for any adults authorized, like, I'm just thinking like, you know, I dropped the kids
Oh,
off, I
okay,
don't
yeah,
know,
yeah.
pick up, my husband doesn't show up to pick up, and now we have to call down, that would never happen.
So under list of adults authorized, name, list, phone number.
Yeah.
I'm also, you're gonna love me, when you see this later, cause, you know, everything has a.
You got that? Could I give it to you for that one?
He's
I'll gladly give you
that's
that
for
one.
Ask me for no forms.
I'll gladly give you that one.
But you may wanna
Where's
just
that?
do like like a table keeps it really clean. Yeah. It's cause we're in.
And I thought, Jamie, you had made a comment on one of these about the,
But the hospital and insurance.
yeah,
Yeah,
collecting.
it was just like those random things that I see, so it's like,
I
but
get
it's
that
not
suggestion.
necessarily because of travel, it's just,
Right.
you know. But yeah, I think hospital preference is just like on everything when we move over to school, you know, I mean, insurance, we don't necessarily have to. But it does make life easier, I guess, if like they have it, but I don't think that I'm not worried about. But the hospital preference could be important if we can't get a hold of a parent and
Mhm.
have to send them quick.
We'll send me the closest one and the parents should have picked up.
Right, and sometimes the ambulance
Sometimes
driver
the
says,
right, will dictate where they're gonna
Yeah,
go depending on the
that you don't have a
condition.
choice.
So if I could just interject on the hospital, we have no reason to put that in. It's gonna be decided by the ambulance crew. So if a paramedic decides, because all these kids are kids, they're gonna be going to Yale Pediatric. It's not really gonna be an option. So, and I just know that as a paramedic. So I wouldn't worry so much about if the parents want a specific hospital. They're gonna be going to Yale PD. It's state like policy pretty much. You know, unless it's something very minor, then maybe they could go to Waterbury. But I would say for anything significant, they're going to be going to Yale Pediatrics. So
Correct.
that'd be up to the ambulance crew. Just, I would leave that as paramedics going to decide what that's going to be.
The only thing, honestly, I think the only thing we need on here, I mean, the medication is great, but also permission for emergency treatment. That's not in
I
here.
don't think you need permission,
What
if
is
it's an
it?
emergency and you're sending them, you don't need permission, like, I don't know, I mean, I don't know. if
It's implied
if you're-
consent.
You're
It's
sending
implied
911, you're
consent for a
going,
kid.
yeah, you're going,
No.
911, you're going,
But
yeah.
is there
We
any
as a
harm?
board should not, or as a, you know, as a commission should not be getting involved in that. Because if
Yeah.
fire department, it wouldn't be the fire department, again, there'd be a paramedic there. They're gonna get medical control, you know, if the parent says, oh, I don't want my child going, and a doctor overrides it, then it's on the doctor. That's not gonna be anything that we're gonna be dealing with. That's,
There they take over.
And there is something in the incident accident report, like part of the policy that says in the event of a staff or, hold on, a staff or volunteer. Where is it? There is something in here though. Oh, this is where it did that stupid 12 volunteer thing.
Didn't we ask last time too about like legal, like someone looking over these forms to make sure they're legally like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I had mentioned
Yeah.
that we could get.
yeah, we have
Yeah,
to
could
look
we
them over
do
once
that
they're done
before,
because.
before Friday? Because I wanted to get these
He's
out.
coming in Thursday morning.
So under
Just
medical
to make sure we're
emergencies-
not putting something on us that we shouldn't be, or vice.
If you can possibly get them to me tomorrow, so I can shoot them to him,
Yeah.
so he can have a chance to review them before Thursday morning.
So under medical emergencies, it says immediate response staff volunteer will assess situation and provide first aid CPR as necessary for serious injuries. Emergency services will be called. If we can't get a parent or guardian, Bethany Hoop staff or volunteer will travel with player to the hospital and remain until parent guardian arrives.
What did it say about CPR? If we're gonna CPR, that's an automatic 911 call, isn't it?
Yeah, but you would.
But
you would
it's- yeah, but
that's
provide-
part of
That's
CPR.
part
Yeah,
of the
yeah, that's what I'm
immediate
saying, like,
response.
yeah,
right,
that's what
like
I'm
they
saying,
would
yeah.
Engage.
Yeah.
While contacting.
Yeah.
So I mean, there, it is in there that like.
Yeah.
Is there anything about allergic reactions?
Mhm.
Um. Okay, so. Going back to that form, because I think that's where we still are, right? So,
We're gonna then look over our policy too, right? Just to make sure. Policy and the forms, right?
we're gonna look over. everything,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything that we feel like? We need to change?
Anything about health issues like asthma or?
Yeah.
Okay,
okay.
yeah. just-
Mhm. Yeah, we are not responsible for administering any medication or
No,
anything
no,
like that,
but
that,
just
that
that
they
the
can share it
staff
with
is
us,
aware.
and that we're
Yeah.
encouraging them to those families. For like any allergies, like any allergies that require an EpiPen or life, you know, life threatening, that they stay, that they're encouraged to stay there.
Yeah.
Because we're not providing any,
No, but it's nice. for the
Mhm.
staff to
Yeah,
know
yeah.
that some of these kids are
Yeah.
sensitive, yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
And we also have any other medical issues, because it may not just be allergies, there could be other things that. That we need to know,
Mhm.
even if a student, if a child has seizures and, you know. They need to be aware of them because, yeah, because they're not gonna be trained, but if a student, if a child is prone to seizures at some point. We need to know, you know.
The parent should be.
Yeah, the parent should say that, yeah.
All right, can we make a motion to accept that? Drop off and pick up.
They'll move to approve the drop off and pickup procedure and the player information and consent form. With the addition of the phone, asking for the phone numbers of those people.
Okay. Discussion?
The second.
Oh, you need
Oh,
a
sorry.
second, yeah. I'll second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, so that one is done. So that brings us to the emergency preparedness policy that we.
We'd be
did
quick
last
with
time.
this one, this is a. unusual
Um,
Circumstance.
I move that we accept the emergency preparedness policy as we wrote it last time.
Second,
discussion,
Can we maybe state what it is for the record?
the emergency preparedness
Mhm.
policy. Yes, so that is how we would deal with, fire emergencies, evacuations, or lockdowns in the event of this sort of dangerous situation in the building. Yes. We have a motion, second, discussion.
Greg, did you get a copy of the all hazards plan that for sports activities from Steve Martoni at all? Okay, I will get that for us.
okay,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I asked him,
Okay.
and so I didn't know if he ended up sending it over to you, but we do have it, in our all hazards plan that addresses sports activities and games after hours.
that's perfect, yeah,
okay,
yeah,
nice.
you have to.
Yep.
And that could be something that you guys review Friday night.
yeah,
Okay. Okay, all in favor? Aye. The exhaust screen, but we still have a quorum.
Yeah, no, I'm here.
You're
Okay.
alive. You're
I'm
alive.
still here. Aye.
Okay, so first aid, CPR and AED policy, which just requires coaches and the coordinator to obtain first aid, CPR and AED certification before the season begins. Certificates to be maintained at the town.
Should we maybe switch that to like one person per session, so not every single
Yeah.
one person present, and then the town pays for the training, because it's, you know, whatever it is, 40,
Yeah.
50 bucks something.
I think the town needs to facilitate
Didn't,
it.
Brent,
Yeah.
Brent said he does that. He told us that he does the CPR training. He's always done it for parks, the Parks and Rec at Bethany Fire Department, so we should reach out to him and see what.
Are we thinking that that's because we don't have?
And do we have,
coaches
I was just gonna say, do we
That's a
have
lot,
anyone
I
that's,
mean,
do we have
yeah,
anyone
it's
that's
just a lot to
currently?
expect, like,
I think
you
it's-
expect it when you're all getting paid, but you're gonna
Well-
pay and do the 7-hour course, and
Right, I was gonna
Yeah.
say, once they are all paid.
I would say
positions,
just
do
Bethany,
we
who's
should-
coordinator,
Mhm.
since they're
Mhm.
expected to be at everything, should be.
Yeah, because I mean, and
Change.
coaches, like every coach of every little league, and they're not required to have the CPR training.
What if we said something like the Bethany Hoops coordinator and or at least one coach per, like what if Nick comes down with the flu, right? He's
Yeah.
not there. Like we need to maintain that there is at least one certified person.
Nice, we have
at
so many
each.
firefighters in town whose kids play hoops.
Correct.
It's really nice.
Right?
Coordinator and or at least one coach per practice or game will be required to obtain valid first aid, CPR and AED certification prior to the start of the season. Certificates maintained by the town of Bethany.
Yes.
And we get a motion to approve that.
Make a motion.
Again,
Discussion. All in favor? Aye. Okay.
I think Dave said aye. I think I saw his
Aye,
lips move.
I said aye.
Me too. I saw your lips move.
Yeah.
Okay. Beautiful. Incident accident report. So outlines kind of immediate attention, parent notification, the incident reporting process. And then if there's like a staff or volunteer injury,
Oh, do you wanna link that form?
yeah. Review. Put some tables on it.
Good.
You have to approve them.
I don't know if I can do it for my phone.
Same, it's just something so satisfying about their cleanliness.
But I liked it. It had like 5 questions. Or even fewer, right? Like, but they were the pertinent questions, like what
Yeah.
exactly happened? What exactly was done in response? Body was injured.
Oh, actually, there it is.
Weapons. Mhm.
Just have to do this from a desk. Tables are nice, you're right.
They just, yeah, they just make it simple, then you have to worry about line spacing and. But yeah, the form, I think, right, looks fine, general information, injured party information. Details of the incident, information about the injury, if there were any witnesses, which I would suggest we put a table in there too, but that's just.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Can't believe you didn't.
I think I think you guys moved on to something else, I had to catch up.
Put it in the minutes that you added all these.
That was crazy to the table. But yeah, I mean, I think that makes perfect sense to me. So. We'll link the form in there once. I don't think I can even link it. I don't know if I can link it. Let me see.
You're an editor now.
Oh, am I now? I probably have to refresh my thing.
Oh, no.
But we'll link that in there.
Very neurotic about editor.
So notice. Okay,
Do we have a motion in a second? Okay, can we get a motion in a second for the incident accident report?
Motion to accept.
I'll second it.
Beautiful. Discussion? All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, lost and found. Can I get a motion to approve the
So
lost
moved.
That
and
we're
found?
not responsible for lost and found items.
All right,
Make sure
Eric
Give that
motions to
Cliff
approve
Notes version.
that.
we are not responsible.
Eric made a motion. Can I have a
There's
second?
nothing about a trunk in here.
Second.
Just like that one.
They will not be left in any trunk.
Discussion. All in favor?
A nice like Patagonia jacket behind it.
Put your name on your kid's stuff.
And an adult medium, I
It's
was.
just be all caps. That's that's still.
Still emergencies. So, again, just outlines what will happen if there's some sort of a medical emergency. You know, what the documentation and response policy is.
Mhm.
I move that we accept it as is.
Beautiful, can I have a
Second.
second? Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Medical needs.
Mm.
Just that we're not responsible for providing or administering any medication to players, and that anyone who requires medication should have a parent guardian present at all times.
Sounds good.
Motion,
Motion to accept.
second,
Second.
discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Missing child procedures. Head counts before and after each session, notifying program director and search of premises immediately if child is missing, and then immediate contact of parents if a child can't be located, and law enforcement as needed. Motion,
Motion to approve.
second,
Second.
discussion.
Jumping ahead here, sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. Sometimes I do it out of order too, Dave. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Parent guardian contact policy. Expected to provide contact information and including emergency contacts, and then just the fact that we'll call if there's an issue, illness, injury, or behavior.
So the one thing.
Yep,
We're saying in the policy, which I think is great, that they have to provide emergency contacts, but on this form, we haven't. I'm wondering if we can just change the header here that says list of adults authorized to bring player home.
Yep.
To say, and these people are
Emergency
also
contacts.
emergency
Yep.
contacts.
Mhm.
yep,
So if we can change the wording on this header to say these are people who are authorized for pickup and they are emergency contacts, then the wording of this policy perfect.
I wonder if we could add some language about like where that's maintained too, like how it's maintained so that like Nick can have access to like all of that information.
It's the big
It's a lot-
binder that he
it's a lot of
keeps with him.
kids.
Yeah.
right, he is gonna need it. Okay.
The emergency contact and pickup person may be two different people. I mean, if there's like a sibling who's 18 coming in, but not necessarily the parent wants him to be
That's
or
true.
her, their emergency contact.
We could make two sections.
Yeah,
I mean, they may list the same person under both, but at
Yeah.
least you have it designated
I was
that.
hoping to avoid them having to
Well-
write the
No,
same
no, I-
name.
I
and phone numbers
understand. Or they
could say same as above.
But we could,
yeah, exactly.
back to the tables.
In the
We could make a
emergency,
table and it's literally person's name.
Oh,
Are they authorized to
yeah.
pick up? Yes. Are they an emergency contact? Yes or no?
Yeah.
That's a great, yeah.
we
Yeah.
all had the same idea.
Yeah.
Break my
Right. Okay. I'll work.
So Eric, you're suggesting in the parent contact policy, we state that the program coordinator has access to all, maintains these forms and has access to them all. at all
Yeah,
times.
like probably like digital access to it somewhere, like it's maintained, the record is maintained and updated. Regularly. I don't know how
But who's
regularly.
gonna do that? That's the program coordinator, right?
Well, it would all be like when everyone like registers with this information,
Mhm.
like that should all be compiled into. A database that he could just search a name and like. Figure out.
Sounds awesome.
Spreadsheet.
But I mean,
We'll have a computer there.
And also
Yeah,
this
there's
internet
bad-
super
bad
spotty
Wi-Fi
over
there.
there, so we're gonna have to use
and also
paper.
people have registered already and not filled this out yet,
Mhm.
right? Like parents, we're gonna have them do it.
First
First
practice,
day.
Could be
yeah.
a day one thing.
Yeah,
No, that is, yeah, that's on the,
yeah,
I think Friday night, you're expected to do day
Yeah.
one, have a meeting with your parents,
Yeah.
have them fill this out, go over the code of conduct
I mean,
for all three.
it could be emailed to them ahead of time too,
So the
so the
first
parent could fill it
practice
out
is gonna
for
be a
that
lot
first
of
practice.
paperwork and talking.
yeah. Either they can fill it out ahead of time too. Or fill it out there.
No, I was just like having, send it home with them and bring it back to the next one.
But what happens if they leave in
Yeah, they
that
can't
practice, in
drop
that
off
first
without
practice,
it.
and you don't have it and something happens?
Somebody's gotta pick them up.
Right, but you
Yeah,
can't
but
allow kids to
I-
be left.
I
unless
think
you
we
have all
definitely have to have
information.
this
Yeah.
before
Before?
anybody gets dropped off. If they plan to.
Or like they stay and fill it out before they leave,
Oh,
to go
yeah.
run off and do
Yeah.
something.
Because they could take it home and
Yeah.
then forget about it.
Right.
Cause you're also,
They will.
on here's also medical information, so we could have a kid that,
Consent for photo. Yeah, I think the first.
Well, so
practice,
that's
everybody
like-
can Do it, right?
The first thing they can send a practice is the meeting,
Yeah.
like,
And
so
parents
don't
will
run
fill it
off.
out right then.
Yeah.
You can give them that heads up,
Mhm.
when you come, there's going to be some paperwork to
Mhm.
complete.
Mhm.
or you could send it and say, we're gonna talk about this, but here's the form ahead of time. I like to print a form sometimes at home and have it filled out, so I don't have to.
That's what we do at Lime Rock.
Yeah,
When we have our, right-handers meeting. Hi, everybody, season starting, by the way, here's your forms. Fill it out
Yeah.
and hand it to us, and then we'll proceed with the meeting,
Mhm.
so.
Yeah, like maybe gatekeep them with the one, like they
Mhm.
can't enter without it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So do we need to add any language to the parent contact policy?
Well, I'm wondering now, so the first session is evaluation, so they don't have a coach yet, nobody has a coach, so it will just be Nick, I guess, the coordinator. Doing this meeting and getting these forms out. And then eventually the coaches would have all this information,
what days are
Okay.
the what days are the evaluations, like, I'm
September
wondering.
2nd and 3rd.
But I think it doesn't listen to the program
Yeah.
coordinator. So
7:30 and
Making
then 7:45 to 9:15, I forget. Oh, it's on here somewhere.
No, I was just trying to think, like, I can't do Tuesdays, but I could look at my schedule, like for Monday, like I could. In theory, go to help, to help out as like, I don't know if any commission members are available, but like. We could go to help him out if it's just gonna be him at that point to gather papers, but.
Well, there'll be
definitely-
coaches
I-
there.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, I
All the
definitely can't
coaches
do
will
it
be
Tuesday, but I
there.
could do a Monday night if I need, like, if I needed to help. Just collect papers. While evaluations are being done, or whatever. But I do think if we email blast it out ahead of time, that would be helpful.
Yeah, it would be cool. Would the coaches already know, what levels they'd be teaching or us, coaching?
Yeah, they signed up for whatever their kids are.
Yeah, so I guess during that orientation, when the parents come and, oh, your kid's 5, oh, there's the coaches over there, why don't you go see them and meet them and.
Well, they're not all gonna be at the same
Oh, they're not,
time.
Yeah.
oh, okay.
No, so different nights and times.
Okay. Kind of an introduction and here's your form.
Yeah.
So how is it, if I could ask, how is that gonna run? The orientation, that sign up?
That's just for coaches,
So this
right?
is just coaches Friday night, is that what we're talking about? This-
Yeah.
Yeah, this Friday is just coaches to explain that all these things need to be done and
And then the parents just receive the forms in the mail, or how do they get those
the first practice.
at the first practice?
Yeah.
Okay.
I added onto the information and consent form. Emergency contacts, and then there's a column at the right that says consent to bring player home from practice, and there's just a checkbox for yes. So, yes, I give consent. If it's not checked, no, I don't. Makes sense.
So then that 18-year-old brother is not an emergency contact, but can take them home. Is that an
But the way
option?
you described it, it sounds like it's
The
just,
option?
yeah, like just emergency contacts.
Yeah.
Can you just make one where it
Can you
says,
just make the column emergency?
Can I,
And make that,
yeah, can I just randomly thinking custody issues? Should we have something in the policy that if there is someone that should not be having
like
contact,
a
like,
guardian notice? Kind of
yeah, I'm just,
thing?
like,
mm,
you know, like
Yeah.
sometimes there's like no contact or like,
Honestly, though,
Well,
if
I'm not
somebody has a
gatekeeping
no
that.
contact order, like it's their.
Well, I'm not talking about it.
Provide that document.
right, no, I know, but should we like?
Should be a space for
there's a.
that.
So on that, I mean, I think we're just complicating things. If they're authorized to pick them up, they're authorized, you know, I mean, if a parent really has some kind of a problem, like there's a protective order. I don't know if we want to start getting into things like that, like if there's something where somebody's that concerned, I'm sure they're gonna say, hey, by the way, this person's not authorized, but I've got a protective order against them, you know what I mean? I don't know if we need to start
I'm
writing.
not talking about protective orders, but like, should we put something in there that we are like almost like? That we're not responsible, so we're putting a lot of responsibility on ourselves about like the pickup and drop off and who kids can go, like. Who kids can leave with.
But
Why
I
don't
don't
we,
think it's any
like-
different than the schools. There's an authorized pickup person. You know, like they're on the authorized list or they're not. So
Yeah.
the assumption is
Yeah,
if they're
but I've
not
also
on the
had
authorized
situations
list,
where
we're not releasing them to that person. You know
Yeah,
what I
but
mean?
they also, yeah, I mean, you guys can do whatever.
There's no
I
reason
don't-
to say like, oh, hey, give us a list of all the unauthorized because it's kind of like a white list for like malware. It's either they're okay or they're not. So
What I'm saying.
if they're on the list to pick them up, they're good.
Right, but so what, Jamie, what are you suggesting that they
Yeah.
have?
That's fine. I'm just like, so there could be custody battles or legal like custody battle that's going on. And someone could walk in when one of these a parent leaves, and it could put us in a situation, like it could put a coach in a situation. And custody battles are ugly, right? Where if like a mother or father could walk in and do that, but we won't know, like, we don't know that they're not supposed to like be there. It's
But
not a
if they're on the
protective order,
list, if they're on the list,
that's not what I'm
So
talking
you're
about.
saying restrict them from attending or being.
Like
in
if
the
there's,
presence of that
like if
kid.
there are, I think we put something, if there are any policy related, like, right, if there's any, like, if there are any.
I don't know, I think this is above the
Yeah.
volunteers pay grade.
yeah,
Can we
this
just
is
put
getting, no,
other
that,
pertinent-
we honestly, listen, from our standpoint, we have no authorization if a parent shows up. If the
Okay.
other parent has some legal reason, then it's gonna be on them to call the police. Like, we should not be getting involved in, hey, another parent isn't
Like,
authorized to
say-
see their
That's
kid.
That's what I'm saying, should we put that
that's
we
not
are
something we should be
responsible
involved
for
with.
I
In a
don't know,
policy.
because I think that to me, that becomes like if my husband and I are divorced or separating and right, like our custody agreement is clear that. I have the kids on Tuesday night and he rolls up to basketball on Tuesday night, like that's my
Yeah.
court issue.
Mm,
That's not what I'm talking about, it's fine,
I
That's
don't,
fine.
I'm
Yeah,
not
let's-
understanding
let's
then what
keep
it
it
is.
simple.
yeah, keep it
here.
simple, it's fine,
Okay.
that's not what I'm.
Can we just make it more open-ended, like other pertinent information?
There is
And
a
then
section.
They can just provide that.
That's at the
That's-
bottom, that's open-ended.
Yeah, any additional information we should know.
Anyway, but-
Yeah. Okay,
The only thing I'm not sure about is how you guys want it to read for the emergency contacts and authorized.
for the sheet there.
Yeah,
what if this part says list of authorized pickups and emergency contacts, and it's just one list, but then there's two checkoffs, like, is this person an authorized pickup?
Mm,
Yes or no? Is this person an emergency contact? Yes or no? So for it's just one list.
yep, so name, relationship, do we care about the relationship?
No, I understand.
Like, if they're giving us consent, I'm just thinking for space, honestly.
Mhm.
So name, phone number, consent to bring player home, and then just emergency contact is the next column, is that what we're saying?
Emergency
Would
contact
that
check.
sound clear though, or is it a question of?
Well, that's what we go over,
Contacted
we'll
and-
go over with them.
Yeah, so you
Yeah.
just put the header of emergency contact, yes or no?
Mhm. And then I think you can't have emergency contact in the title for the whole table.
Yes, agreed, I'll have to. Just say. Additional contacts. Additional contacts.
If you have six
I think
people
it's
there.
one
and
person
you
to- Person to call in case of an emergency. I don't have 5 emergency contacts.
Yeah,
I don't have two,
well-
I don't have 2 emergency contacts.
mean, I don't
I've
know.
got like me and my husband. We don't have, like, I mean, like my mother, you know,
Right,
like,
Well, that's what this is. It just has a
Yeah.
check for if they're emergency
Yeah.
contact. or
Right.
not.
More than enough. 95% of
Mm.
people is gonna be the same.
yeah,
People every
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
okay,
And you don't have to fill all the boxes.
nope,
Right, yeah.
especially if you're just gonna sit there with your child the whole time.
Yeah, right.
It's a real easy way to not fill out any of it.
Should probably fill out at least one out, but
I mean, it's not a terrible idea. Okay, does that look okay?
Mm, Yep.
I'm still working on the emergency contact phone.
Well, I don't think, I mean, we didn't have to add anything to the policy for parent contact.
Right,
Right?
Yeah, no, that's hasn't changed. It's just the form that changed.
Okay.
do we have,
Motion to accept it?
no, okay, so do we have a motion for parent guardian contact policy?
Yeah, we do.
Do I have a second?
second.
Any discussion?
More?
All in favor?
Uh,
Aye. Okay, photographs,
Motion to approve the policy. as
Yeah.
written.
I was second,
Second.
discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
I said I.
Okay, I just couldn't hear you, I couldn't
Aye.
hear you, I'm totally, I didn't hear you, I couldn't hear you. Okay, property damage or theft. I have a motion,
I'll make a motion to approve it.
second,
Second.
discussion. All in favor?
Uh,
Aye.
Motion carries, okay. Refund policy,
Did we check the
did
fees?
not check the fees, I totally forgot about
So
that.
can we?
Well, I would say
Right,
minus
partic-
fees.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if a participant withdraws before.
A
the
full
first
refund
session
will be
or-
issued in parentheses minus administrative fees, not administrative, but like website fees.
It's an administrative thing,
Yeah,
whether you're dealing with the website or in person, it's still an administrative thing.
so just as written, but comma.
Minus any
subtracting
related
any
administrative fees,
administrative.
and I will email Leslie right now so that we just know it for the future. Um,
And no refunds will be provided after the first active.
okay. I have a motion for refund policy,
Make a motion to accept.
second
Second.
discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Boom. Registration and payment procedures. Can I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second,
Second.
Do we have something in there about if they owe money, like, I mean, I know we're not doing for this year, but wasn't that talked about if they owe money, that we should. If they have a bet, like,
yeah,
I know it's like,
I know.
it's a,
Do we need it for this year?
I don't think we can put it in for this year because we're not checking.
I don't think for this
it.
year.
But I'm with you, we have
But
to.
we
Yeah.
have to make a note that we.
yeah, we'll have
add
to
as
make a
soon as
note
this
that we'll
is-
have to
Correct.
put it in there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So like
I agree,
whatever the
not for
next
this year.
program is, which
Yeah.
God willing, we'll have
Yeah.
director by then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And we have like
add.
walk-ins not,
I think
I mean,
on
what
the
do we
thing
say?
it said
Like, we could-
no, right, they had to be registered.
Everything has to be
On the flyer
done
form,
online, no
right?
registration.
But do we have to put that in the policy
Yeah,
too? that
yeah,
it's
we
on the
can't have people
flyer?
showing up, we gotta order
It's
shirts. we
in-person
gotta do all
meeting,
this
it's
stuff.
not accepted after registration window closes.
Okay,
But what if the
Yeah.
first bullet says pre-registration is required?
I'm good with that.
Is this specifically just for Bethany Hoops, this policy?
This
Okay.
This
form,
one,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
It says payment due in full, right? So doesn't that cover the outstanding balance thing? That was an issue.
No, because you could have had a summer camp balance and still registered.
Oh, okay.
for
I
hoops.
see.
Yeah,
I see what you mean. Okay.
if we're saying that.
But we
like-
can't do that for this year because people already registered that probably got.
Right, and because.
and or some flaws might make
Right, in
some,
the system, we didn't
Yeah.
really, so, but I think for any future program,
and it would,
but if this is just for hoops.
we'll have to
um,
revise it next,
Yeah,
or as soon as Bethany Hoops
Can we
is
just
over.
put, like, Effective 2025 or something.
Huh?
Like make it
We don't put it in
effective.
this.
We just won't
yet,
touch
because
it
we
at
don't-
all.
it's not-
Yeah.
because then we're gonna have to get into like the word.
We'll just have to revise the policy.
Just have to write it down somewhere.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah,
we'll get it in a minute.
Oh, yeah.
true.
That helps.
Okay, so can I have a motion for registration and payment procedure just for hoops?
make a motion to accept.
Second,
Second.
Second.
discussion,
No.
all in favor?
Oh.
Aye. I think I've said it so many times, it would actually be easy, but it's actually getting harder. And that doesn't seem right, okay.
That's because it's like getting later.
Literally, all there.
Can we just copy and paste this behavior management plan at the bottom onto the top?
Yeah, so those are all the ones that we did, so now we have to do all the ones we didn't do.
Yeah, the behavior management policy is not on the policy
Oh,
stuff.
It's on the. is
It
on
was
the bottom?
drafted, but
Right.
it's, we
So it's
didn't go over
needed
it
for Bethany
together.
Hoops.
Right.
It's like right above cancellations, right?
Yeah, but that part's blank, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So at the bottom, there's a suggested draft. Positive enforcement. Players exhibiting disruptive or unsafe behavior will receive up to 2-1. Honestly wonder if we take out the middle two bullets, because the main points are that
Wait, speaking of this, did we put in the policy the complaint procedure?
Not yet.
Okay,
Not yet. I'm just gonna move this up to the.
I think the major points of our behavior management policy are that the coaches and volunteers and staff use positive reinforcement. We can be more specific about what that means, but the warning system and the parent.
Yeah, get rid of the warning system. I like the parent involvement still. Especially for the older kids who are leaving, the parents are leaving,
Yeah,
but yeah, the warnings, whatever.
and then it's important that we say that there's a possibility of removal from the program if it's severe or
Yeah.
repeated.
So should we put the, what did you say?
Complaint procedure.
Complaint procedure, yeah. Well, that could be complaints for many things, not just behavior, so I guess we just.
Yeah, we
understand.
keep that separate.
We just, right, like,
put like, can
Behavior
you put like a
responsibility.
non-disclaimer, like somewhere in there, like about we have 0 tolerance for
We
bullying.
can keep that under the same.
Harassment. Whatever,
Mm,
I am not
Like
a.
the phrase 0 tolerance is
Yeah.
like means a whole lot of things.
but the same bullying, that's like a really severe, that's not just calling somebody, not being mean. I don't know,
Right.
like
Zero
around,
tolerance
like,
policies are like
correct,
being
correct.
done away with.
I will have no tolerance, not 0. No, I mean, unless you guys.
Well, but I think just a blanket statement that repeated or severe behavioral issues could result in removal from the program is all we need, because if we get specific, I mean, I'm not saying all we need long-term, but if we get specific and start saying things, even the word bullying, like the
Correct.
State Department of Education has a specific definition for
Yes.
what that means. We're,
That's why there's federal and state
And that's
guidelines for a lot of
And then
things for Title IX. for
That's something
everything.
that's gonna come in the complaint
Title
too, I
VI.
would guess.
Civil rights.
If that's happening repeatedly, they'll put a complaint into Nick and then
yeah,
send the
Yeah.
email.
Yeah, so in the policy. So are we officially talking about behavior management policy, and can I make a motion to approve this draft, but without the warning system bullet?
Yeah, I removed
Yeah.
it, so if you,
I'm
Are you
offline, so I'm looking.
oh,
Uh,
sorry.
I'm not seeing.
So it just says,
fine.
coaches and staff will use positive reinforcement to encourage good behavior. If behavior doesn't improve after warnings, parents, guardians will be informed. For repeated or severe issues, a player may be removed from the program with no refund given.
Put it in green.
Put that. Approve that policy as written.
We have a motion,
Second.
discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We need a background check and screening policy.
Isn't that somewhere else? Didn't we have that written somewhere else?
I think it's in the,
Is it in the right there?
I think it's in like the player,
I feel like I should, like, I feel
Code
like
of
my
conduct?
computer died, but I feel like I feel like I read that.
I think it's in the coach thing that he's doing for.
Oh, maybe that's where it's
Yeah.
at, 'cause I was like, I feel like I saw it in there that there was like the DCF and all that
Well,
stuff.
yeah, it was in the.
Yeah,
The slide
maybe
for
just
your
cut and paste
Friday
it from like,
But then didn't we discuss tonight, we just want to add that concerns can be brought to the program
Mm.
coordinator or the chair of the commission.
but those are background checks and DCF.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Right, I know, it is all going together.
41.
I know, it's totally going, everything together.
Right. Okay, so
It was the DCF and the criminal that was the wording.
Right.
so DCF and criminal background checks
Are any
are
coaches volunteers or?
required, yep. For all coaches and volunteers.
Does that include high school students who are under the age of 18?
I don't think you can't do,
You can't
you
require.
can't do a DCF background check on them because they're underage and that's not like, and they're not gonna be. That's like they're protected,
Right,
so that wouldn't include on the volunteers.
okay.
We might wanna talk about, we need like some kind of
Is there some kind of
letter of
training?
reference or something like from them, and I don't know what Dave did.
Okay, so
But,
Let's,
yeah,
the meeting summary, let's say Joe walks in. He wants to coach. What do I have to do with this guy? I gotta submit his name where? Get the fingerprints from Dave. The background check is just the same as this name submission, the child protection training with Dave P and not Dave Merriam. Are those the three things that they have to do? So the background check, fingerprints, and then the training?
The DCF and the fingerprints, he would work with Dave, the coach would work with Dave.
So that's with Dave. I don't wanna have to like go to 15 different
Yeah.
channels, to get these things done, so. Alright, so if I can just focus to Dave Pecoraro and Dave Merriam, that's where I'm gonna clear all the coaches from or through. Is that accurate?
It should be,
There's
yeah,
coaches.
like I said, he sent me the information for the fingerprinting, which they would go through by to get it done, but they would deal with him as far as submission and.
Okay, so Dave Merriam will handle any of the stuff, is that correct? As
We
far as,
also have the form for the DCF background check that they would complete, and then he inputs the information into the system and submits it.
I mean, I think for the
Well,
kids,
you're
I think for
also
the kids that are volunteering, like if there's high school kids that are volunteering, like we could ask. Like for, a recommendation letter if we needed to, but I mean,
Oh,
you're typically not gonna, you know.
So I wasn't
Yeah.
even really talking about background checks, really, like, are they able to like? Do the training, like just the online modules, just so they're like familiar with how to.
So here's my recommendation on that. All they really need to do, so the actual coaches, the law is anybody over 21 has to have the DCF training in addition to the minor protection. So in the minor protection program that I created, it covers both, but
You're muted.
Right. so
Yeah.
the minor protection program covers both, but they have to still do the DCF training. If they're 18 to 21. Anybody under 18, if they just sit through, the minor protection training, It talks about DCF procedures, but they don't have to like go through the actual DCF class. I think that's, the best rule of thumb. That's what we set for, beforehand, what we were gonna do, because the law is 21. Anyone 21 and over has to have DCF training.
Right, so they're not mandated reporters, but they get the training that they would
Yes,
get.
correct. So a 21-year-old is a mandated reporter, even that's because it's a park and rec program. So they would be considered like counselor. So anyone 21 and over after 2022 is a mandated reporter. We kind of added to it and said even 18-year-olds are going to go through it, but they are legally not mandated reporters. So it's just important. There's that differentiation. But even for the coaches, when I do the training for them, they're still going to have to log in again. Anyone over 18 is going to have to go themselves on their own time and do the DCF training. That way we're in compliance on everything. There's no question. They've had both the minor protection and the full DCF training. So
They get
just
a
that
certificate.
clarifies.
Right,
So
they
they
could
get-
get a certificate at the end, which they could provide to the town for a
Yes.
file.
And so if somebody's not here Friday or whenever we do another one, they could do that on their own time. They're just lacking the kind of guidance from you.
Yeah, so even mine, honestly, we have it. If somebody misses it Friday when we do the in-person one, they can just log in. We have it recorded somewhere. They can honestly just go through that. The big thing will be they have to get that DCF certificate. And it explains it in the training that I run. But when they go and they log into the DCF site, they get that certificate. That's what, if we provide that, as our record for the town. Now there's no question. Everybody's DCF trained. If they've sat through mine, whether it's in person or through that, that's our minor protection program that we've adopted at this point. At some point we may want to amend it, but currently, that's what's been adopted. So that covers it, because it's really two. It's minor protection, which is, just in a nutshell for anybody who hasn't read it here, it's basically what you should and what you shouldn't do with kids. That isn't necessarily a DCF issue. And then you have your DCF issues. So that's basically what it is.
You may have people that have already been through it and have their certificates, so
Yeah.
A lot probably do. So if they have it, they don't need to do it again.
I have mine. You don't have to do that for,
I have so many.
yeah, you probably,
Things
like, you know what
like
I'm saying,
that,
like, we do it every year.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you might have people that have it.
Most of them are parents.
Parents,
Yeah.
okay, so there's not anyone under 18 then?
No, unless somebody's doing like the scoreboard.
Okay.
That would be, if we're missing, if we can't get parents to volunteer for that, then we'll reach out to Lynn Coco, is that her name? Lynn Coco?
Yeah.
To see if she can drum something up.
So in the background check policy, are we writing that they need the DCF and criminal background check, and they need to have received the minor protection training, or is this not the right place for that?
I think that makes sense. The minor protection, if we put that in the policy, it's the minor protection program, the DCF training and the background checks. I would put that in there. That way it's just clear what, we have a policy showing, hey, this is what we've provided. And, so I definitely think I would put that in there.
Yeah, so we have a separate section called minor protection mandated reporter training. I don't know. that
Okay,
we-
so as long as that's in there, yeah. So, if that's in there too, then, we don't need it twice.
Yeah,
At
can we
some point,
consolidate
might wanna
those?
consolidate
I was gonna
some
say,
of
do you wanna
these
consolidate it
policies.
for any, like, for coaches, coaches, volunteers or something, like. We'll have the following or whatever. We'll need to have the following, I don't know.
Paula, I don't, I have a note in here that says town has access to protect youth sports currently. Do you know what that's about? Like, is that a screening process that the?
Oh, is that like
I
the safe
think that
spot?
was, I think Jen was checking into that, with regard to, some kind of a background check, but I'm not.
I think we'll.
Yeah, I wonder if that's like safe sport where they do the
I
background
think
check
there,
for you, like you
I
have to be
think it was
trained in
under
it.
Janice's login or something, so
Okay.
Jen was trying to get it out of Janice's name and, so
Okay.
I don't know if that was completely done yet.
Okay, and no, so the Connecticut Safe Sport Policy Handbook was just a resource in there in case we wanted to look at it, cause that has a lot of things about like what coaches, volunteers, whatever, should and should not do, right? Like, so you shouldn't be alone in a locker room with a student. Those kinds of specific things that I suspect, Dave, are all covered in your presentation. But it just is a resource in case we ever wanted to use it for any of those training pieces.
And that's like another good reason for the team snap, so. Yeah, you don't need to have a sixth grader's phone number, you know.
Right,
Mhm.
yes. Okay. So. All right, so are we good with the background check and screening policy? So just DCF and criminal background checks are required for all coaches and volunteers ages 18 and up.
Mhm.
Motion.
Sorry, just to again consolidate, can we add just the minor protection stuff to that and put that all in the same
I mean, I
grouping?
think,
Cause it's all like. What they need to get started.
Maybe for now, we keep them separate and clear. Right now, what we tend to be doing is keeping them really short. These are
Right,
short
distinct.
policies
Okay.
and distinct, and then maybe in the long run.
Well, one is background checks and one is training for staff. So
Right.
they're two separate
Mhm.
things.
Okay, you put training for staff and you put the CPR piece and all that stuff in there too.
right, yeah,
Make
maybe,
everything that
right,
you-
consolidate.
Yeah.
Here's what coaches need.
Yeah.
Bang, 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 yeah.
Do we have a motion for background checks and screening policies?
Yes, so
Second,
Second,
discussion. All in favor?
I,
Okay. Code of conduct. There's a draft. Of player code of conduct.
I don't know how they.
Don't we have all three of those right there? So we could just,
Mhm.
have it left over, so. we
Seems
could
like it
just
could be a
make-
lot though, if you jam them all in there.
Wait, what if you?
Yeah, I'm almost
What
thinking
if you
maybe
like
the
'em?
hyperlinks.
Yeah.
Like them, okay.
And I make a motion that we go ahead and accept them and go on to the next one.
I second.
second.
Sorry, guys.
Here we go, Jamie.
My mom's babysitting.
You didn't.
My child is not going to sleep.
All right,
You
um,
did a nice job on this, Fred.
Yeah,
Thank you, ChatGPT, yeah.
yeah.
Isn't it a beautiful thing? Why are we
Cleaned up
doing
a
that for
little bit. I
this
added
whole
a couple
policy right
things,
now?
yeah.
Come on, just put it in
actually-
there and have it fix this for us.
I added the one about no showboating, that's a big pet peeve of mine, so
Mm.
we put that in the player code.
already can see your child will have a.
There's no I.
Yeah.
Make the basket.
No sellies, come on, you gotta allow sellies.
We'll start working on that at home. I mean, there's only 14 kids.
Yeah.
Okay, somebody make a motion.
Yeah, Jamie did.
Yeah,
Okay,
I totally
second.
did.
Discussion,
Absolutely. not.
all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Sorry, I'm just trying to put these links in here at this.
Jamie, did you vote?
I think,
I don't think I
I
said aye.
think I did, maybe I should say it, sorry, I.
I heard it this time.
I.
You like paddles, like an.
I know, we totally do, we like, yeah, it would make life just so much easier.
Um.
I wish I had like a different sound thing.
Like the Price is Right?
Yeah,
thing?
yeah.
Brum, brum,
Like,
brum.
yeah, yeah. That was easy, how about that was easy button, maybe that's what we need, cause that one was really easy, Craig,
I
thank
don't
you.
think we'd be able to use that often.
No, we wouldn't, but that code of conduct was easy.
Okay, what's next?
Shoot.
Concussion
Scrolling.
protocol.
This is like the longest thing
Yeah,
for
I just
Bethany.
realized I
who's
did
been here.
not get that and send it out,
It's
and
fine.
I'm not internet connected right now, so I can't find it.
Well, I think a lot of this applies to
Is that
board
gonna-
coaches.
Yeah, it's gonna be nice to be able to reuse.
Is that
some
gonna
of
go
this
under
stuff.
the,
Which one?
and the same with the CPR, first aid, AED, concussion, can we put that in there?
That's,
So the sample that I forgot to get to you guys, I
I
apologize,
don't know.
was really just
Oh,
like
the concussion
information
protocol.
for the parents, and the parents would sign off that they understand it.
Mm.
It's not necessarily training, because our volunteers are not, don't need any training in it,
Mhm.
but like just information for parents about the risks.
Right.
So do we need them to sign off on something like that, or it's just the emergency, the I
The
get the
accident,
title of it.
the accident one?
The accident one, but, and the medical. needs and medical emergency.
What if you just ask
policy
parents to
that
sign off that they
covers
reviewed the whole policy handbook?
Yes, that's,
And then and we put, like, you could put resources in there and then
yeah,
they sign off that they viewed it, so maybe on the player, like, or whatever, the parent signs off on this. I don't know,
yeah,
something,
that's always a good idea.
like, or maybe, is it in my rec at all, or could you put it on Team Snap, that the parent says, I reviewed?
But that's only gonna be 4th through 6th grade.
Yeah, that's true,
No, I think
But-
anytime you have. a
yeah,
Policy and procedure.
Yeah.
You gotta have the parents sign.
Yeah.
I received it in.
yeah,
And
it'd be
read
nice if there was,
follow
it would be nice
and
if there was
review
like
it.
a,
review it.
could you link that to my, like, I don't know enough about my rec in that
I
respect, but
think,
could you
I
link?
think we probably
policy?
could, moving forward.
Yeah.
Would be my assumption.
Yeah.
We have to look into it a little bit, but I would imagine.
You know, this way it's paperless and it's like, hey,
Right.
What
I
if we
reviewed.
add to this? In the consent section, we add something that says that they have received and read the policies and procedures.
Are you asking them also to waive liability?
We,
Oh, like a
Well, if they
liability
have a
waiver form.
concussion or anything that, you know, the town is not gonna be held responsible for any injuries or concussions.
well,
which-
so doesn't our medical emergency policy cover that?
And this is why we're gonna have the attorney review.
I think so.
I mean, cause reviewing it, they'll just sign it, but if he comes up back with the severe concussion, that they could.
Well, listen, you sign any, you could sign any waiver of liability, people are still gonna do whatever they're gonna do. If they
No,
want
but,
to,
but
if
if
they
you
want
have
to.
that form
Yeah.
signed though, at least you have some kind of standing in court, let's put it that way.
I think we would talk to the attorney about that, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we
that's
could
not
put-
something for us to do. I
Yeah.
don't think that's something for us to do. That would be up to Vin, I think.
We could
Yeah,
put it on the player information form now.
yeah, like, once he reviews all this stuff, he could tell us,
Yeah.
this is what's needed, this isn't what's needed.
So do we wanna just put like a little check off on the player information form that says, so it says I certify the information provided above is accurate and complete to the best of my knowledge. They have to sign in date. I have reviewed the Bethany Hoops policies and procedures and am in agreement.
Well, how are they getting that?
That's what we're trying to figure out, like, maybe we
Yeah,
could
no,
put it on.
is that, I mean, if it's
here,
on the,
one. I mean, could
we put it on the,
it upload to Team Snap too? I
Can
don't
we
know.
email it
Parks
to
and
all
Rec,
the people who register?
Yeah,
mhm.
For hoops, we can have Leslie email
Yeah.
it.
yes, there you go. And then they'll not have it.
Right,
Have Leslie do what?
email out the policies and procedures to anybody who registers for hoops.
Did they?
Did
Did
she
they
have the
involve with their
packet?
email address?
Put it as a packet?
No, it's just a
No, put
link,
it, or
just link it. though.
link it, like if it could be linked.
Cause there's so many
If it could
hyperlinks
be
in there, you
uploaded
can't give
to
them
my-
you can't give them a hard copy, there's
If
all
it
the
could be
hyperlinks, right?
uploaded to my
Yeah.
rec,
PDF.
Electronically, right.
could we, yeah, could they just go into their my rec and?
Really?
Right?
Or-
It's Leslie.
I'm not that.
I feel like I'm like,
familiar
I
with
put
feel
it
like I
on
might be
the-
comparing it to Power School a
I'm
little bit,
pretty
but
sure
wouldn't it be
she-
nice if like the forms were that was?
I mean, that's how she sent out the
The bills.
invoices, right, that she sent out this morning through the
Yes.
MyRec. So I think-
And
I'm guessing
We
that
can probably-
she could say everybody who's registered for Bethany Hoops, we'd have to look into it, but.
I mean, we'll put it on like, I think we would put it on like our website too, so
Yeah.
we can tell people. It's on, it's also, it's linked, it's, you know, on the website,
I'll ask her
yeah.
as well. Okay.
Can we have Vin like look over all of these policies,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
like all the ones that we approved
Mhm.
today, just like.
Yep.
Make sure
Mhm.
there's no like red flags,
Yeah.
Mhm.
I
things we should adjust.
second that.
Something you can't do.
Should I make a motion for
You should
that?
totally
to
make a
submit
motion
it
for
to
that.
the-
Well, I
Town
plan on
hall.
doing it.
Yeah.
I already plan on doing that. So
Yeah.
you get
Talk
them
about
to
it
me,
at
so.
each of our
Yeah.
meetings.
Watch him come back and say, we have to totally change everything.
Oh,
This is all wrong.
I'm totally kidding. But that would just be how this year is
There'll be a
gone.
whole new commission.
We would be like, sorry, here is our, right. The amount of hours that we've all done.
Okay,
Is,
I added a check off. I certify the information is accurate. I've reviewed the policies and procedures and I'm in agreement. I'll
Mhm.
email Leslie. I'll ask her if there's a way to do
Yeah.
that voodoo magic.
Listen, at the very least, if it gets linked on on the website, we could at least send an email through my rec that these policies are here for them to be, this is how you can find them to review it.
Mhm.
Yep.
Check them out. Okay.
Did we already do the complaint procedure?
Oh, no.
I know I tried this, I got it at the wrong time, but I don't remember if we actually did it.
No. Okay,
Would you just put it like under like complaints and like in the, like, and just put it like simple again, like in the case, in the case of any complaints, here's like, number first is to notify the Bethany Hoops director,
Should we say
second.
director or commission?
Well, I think we said,
Program board.
didn't we say when we talked about this before, didn't like Dave say first?
And then
should
if not
be-
resolved with the
if not
coordinator,
resolved.
then you go to the.
Yeah,
Then it could
director,
be-
if not resolved, then move on to the commission, because we don't want to get everything from everybody.
What if there's a complaint about the
Right.
director?
This is true. That was my, yeah.
Or, yeah.
File formal
But they can
complaint,
skip right ahead.
contact
That's
the
the they can skip
coordinator
the
and.
person who's.
Or if they don't, like,
I'm saying if.
or if they don't
if
feel
the
like Nick
complaint is
handled it
about the
correctly,
director, then they gotta have another
or they
option.
just wanna do
Yeah.
both.
Right.
Some people might want, like, we are in a weird area with our community right now, right? So, the people might wanna,
Oh, communicate,
Yeah.
that's fine.
yeah.
so we're on this
Complaint procedure.
procedure.
In case,
I don't know if we
in,
do now, but eventually that's what licensing will ask us
Yeah.
to call it.
in the event, yeah, an event that an issue arises that you feel you need to, that you feel warrants a formal complaint, here are this. The following steps should be
You know, Dave Merriam's hours
Follow.
usually.
In the event of an
Out
issue,
sometimes because he's
in
doing
the
road work and
event of
stuff,
an
so he
issue,
doesn't have, but he's
concerns,
extension one.
I'll just email him
Or
and
email,
then,
yeah.
okay.
cases that can't be satisfactorily resolved.
in an informal process, I don't know. No,
I
because
think we
informal
just-
would be with Nick too, yeah, so,
Can't you just say in the
Just
event
like
that
the
there's.
file
Yeah.
formal complaint.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
to file a formal complaint.
Well, there's
File formal
well, there's also
complaint.
informal complaints, so if they're going to talk to, like, if they're going to talk to, I think you have to say both.
Yeah,
we have to
to
say
file
both.
a
Complaint
complaint
may be
to
filed
the chair.
with the
Program coordinator.
Bethany Hoops coordinator for the Park and Recreation Commission Chair.
Mhm.
And then you get to.
That's
Your email there?
$55, a lot of emails.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not.
You're too bad.
Mhm.
So tired.
I mean, I feel like
Actually
there's,
wrote
I feel
that
like there-
earlier, it's so
I
funny.
feel like there's not gonna be.
I wrote Jay Gaelic at BPA and then I had to delete it. I had to delete it with my pen though. Scribble it, the old.
If they have a formal complaint, don't file one.
Out my ears. Okay.
Yeah.
I move that we approve the complaint procedure as we just wrote.
Mhm.
Second.
Yep.
I have a complaint about that.
Do you wanna open that for discussion, you're saying?
The email, Jen.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should all complain about the complaint procedure.
You should delete that with your pen.
Okay, any discussion about the complaint procedure?
No.
All in favor?
Uh,
Aye.
Okay. Going back, I'm just looking to see if there's anything. All right, so we have background checks, behavior management, cancellation, code of conduct for all three groups. We are currently missing a concussion protocol. Are we
do we
putting?
need a concussion protocol?
I don't know if we need it. I mean, I can
Anyone ever
definitely,
been concussed?
We
before
can
during
attach it as a
basketball?
resource. When they,
Yeah,
when they review, like, we can attach them as
Because you wouldn't
resources.
be diagnosing a
Yeah.
concussion, it
Yeah,
wouldn't be a.
we
It's like
have,
that.
we
like
have
that-
no business
That's-
writing a
Maybe it's
concussion
just-
protocol.
Might just
That
be more
should
of
be,
awareness for parents, you know?
that should be
Yeah.
written either by a pediatrician, but we should not be getting involved.
yeah,
I know what you're saying,
I
you meant
wonder-
protocol of like what to do in that case that you suspected or
just an
whatever, but I think that's good to
informational
put in like things to have.
I wonder
Oh, yeah,
if you
resource-
should
For the future,
require an
great.
incident report when someone hits their head.
Absolutely.
I
Yeah,
think, right?
I think, did we say something like that?
I
I
think
remember
that's,
talking about it.
Yeah.
It's not in our written.
It's
procedure,
not?
But we were talking about.
Neck up,
Having
yeah.
anything From the neck
Yeah.
up. I don't think we ended up.
Oh, we didn't put it in there?
Did we already vote on that?
and
We did, we already.
Yeah.
voted
Motion to
approve it.
amend that.
We had something about what, like, we had something about first aid in there, like if it requires more than like a Band-Aid. Like,
so incident action report, so provide first aid. Hold on, where is that? Reporting form.
This just says,
Or were we
body
just
part
wait, or
affected.
were we just filing it for everything? Like, was the incident report for everything?
We were definitely going to tell the staff to, when in doubt, fill it
Yeah,
out. Oh my God, I did
yeah,
it.
when in doubt, fill it out. I like that one.
Suicide.
Huh.
Delirium is setting
Yeah.
in.
My mother's texting me like, so, what time?
Hopefully your children are asleep.
No, he will not go to sleep till I'm
I
home.
know, right, mine will be asleep.
But listen, that's nothing new.
Right.
You know?
Where
But
can we put that?
I think,
Hmm.
I wonder if that's just more of a training thing, that when we're talking, can you add that to your?
Yeah,
Um,
truly, I don't know, I mean, if we can't start having that granular of a policy, I mean, if somebody hits their head, there's such a drastic difference, it's really up to the parents to decide, you know, in my opinion, because, you know, a kid could bump their head, that does not require an incident report, versus they fall and whack their head and they need 911, that's gonna be an incident report, you know, but
But didn't.
I mean, if we
Talk
start
about
making
mobile
blanket statements, I think it's gonna be too much, you know, like if 911's called, incident report, you know, but if a parent wants an incident report, incident report, but I think we're just
Definitely
getting a
agree
little
with you
too
about
much.
not too granular, and I definitely agree with you about not encouraging the staff to never diagnose anything. But when it comes to a policy of when and how they document things, I think it is our. We do have to do more.
Didn't we
But that
talk?
being said, I'm not saying that we need to write it in here, but I do think we need to give specific instructions and training to staff about fill out the form whenever possible. And it does make sense to say,
Didn't we talk about something last meeting and the neck up? I know we got into a lot of it, but I hear what you're saying. But there was something about if there is some kind of an injury or something like a concussion that something about that we would be that maybe that the director would be that the director would be notified and they need to be like medically cleared to come, like something to that extent. Wasn't there was some talk
There was
about
something
this?
about them having to be
Yeah.
cleared to return.
Yeah.
But no
Because
one,
they
no
should
one
be
on the
like
staff
if there was.
making any diagnosis about
No,
it.
but if the parent took the child and the child did in fact have a concussion, it is something that they should be notified, like notifying.
The program
So that an
coordinator, so,
incident
yeah.
report, like if,
But I mean, here's the
Yes.
thing, if a kid gets a concussion, their doctor is gonna say, hey, this is when they can go back and play. I mean, these are young children, this isn't college level, you know, where it's not the NFL. This is gonna be the kid's pediatrician or the ER physician is gonna say, hey, this is when they're allowed to play again. It's really not up to us to decide when they're
That's not-
cleared.
Also,
Your
I mean-
doctor is gonna do that.
and we
No, she's
encourage that
talking
the
about-
parent
she's talking
communicates
about
with us what the
evidential
doctor's decision
documentation.
is. Which
What's
is
that?
different.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
think
not
she's
our
saying-
business. And honestly, I don't think it's our business whatsoever. If a doctor is clearing the kid and the parent is okay with them coming, it's truly not our business to start getting involved. Now we're starting, I think, open ourselves up to HIPAA things. You know, again, I know where it's coming from, but this is coming from like high school, collegiate levels where, okay, hey, these kids
no,
want
my
to play
kid
no matter
plays, my
what.
kid plays hockey and if he has a concussion, we're supposed to notify the league and let them know and let the coach
It's
know.
just
That's
like,
just
I
proper
think
protocol.
asking the parents to
Yeah.
notify us.
You're
Yeah.
putting the program in a bad position. If a parent does not notify that a child has a concussion and then lets their child play and something else happens,
Let me call DCF on that first.
yeah. But.
Yeah,
no,
I think Jamie's just
Not all
suggesting that we
parents are
ask parents to
responsible.
inform us and you can
No offense.
notify us of anything.
So the current incident accident policy says that immediate attention will be provided by coaches and staff or volunteers for minor injuries, and they will assess whether a participant can safely continue. So I'm thinking that's more like, I bend my pinky back.
Yeah,
Am I allowed?
I banged my knee.
I got scratched.
Well, I
I
mean-
got hit in, I got hit in the back with
Yeah.
a basketball.
yeah.
And then for serious injuries, parents would be contacted and emergency services called if necessary.
Mhm.
Staff complete an incident report documenting details of any injury, parents sign it, program director notified.
And not to be devil's advocate, but define those, define serious, define minor. Everyone has a different level of comprehension of what that means.
It's also very broad. It says any injury,
Yeah,
So it really,
so.
Honestly, guys, I think this is something, if we're really concerned about it, we should let Vin decide. This should be something a town attorney, if we start getting into injuries, when we start getting into these things, if we're gonna have this policy, I think it needs to be written by the town attorney. You know, I don't think I think this is starting to get out of the scope for that exact reason. What's a small injury or what's a minor injury? What's a major injury?
Yeah, the nurse-
There's all different definitions, even at like the EMS level.
Yeah, maybe it's involved, so they're getting.
Well, he's gonna review all this.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that's one, we should just get it directly from him. I'm sure he knows it. I'm sure he would know what the best concussion policy is. You know,
Well, he
instead
may-
of us reinventing the wheel, something where we
Can we
start
ask
getting into injuries, I feel like an attorney should be the one doing that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
right.
Like,
Yeah,
it should-
I
the
think
parents
we
should
are
notify
kind of
their-
all in agreement that we
coaches
leave
if
it
there's any injury.
as is, maybe I'm wrong, but it feels like we don't need, we're all kind of agreeing that we don't need to get more granular
Yeah.
right now. We should, the accident, injury reporting and the medical emergency policy that we already approved are good to go, and we want the town attorney to review and let us know his thoughts, but other than that, we don't need to add. Right?
Yes, I think so. Um. So we are saying that we're not gonna add a concussion protocol right now, because in that instance, the parent is seeking medical advice and. That's it, right? Okay, so I don't think we need any motion, because we didn't add, right? Okay.
The last one is minor protection, minor protection.
Oh, sorry, thank you. Minor protection mandated reporter training for all staff and volunteers.
Is that,
Over the age of 18 or all staff and volunteers, period.
Up to us.
is that the policy right there? Like,
This
they're
is
receiving
actually,
that training, that's what that policy is saying.
so this is a sample from Watertown, because theirs was posted on their recreation website.
Did we vote to adopt Dave's minor protection?
Oh.
thing?
Is that the first meeting, that one?
Yeah, didn't we,
We talked about it.
we talked about it, but I don't remember it, cause like, we could. Put that in the policy, like if we're gonna use that as the. Minor
Blanket
protection.
for any program, right?
Yeah.
So. We're saying all staff and volunteers. Over the age of 18.
Well. Isn't this all staff and volunteers, even if they're under 18, do the minor protection?
Right, but are we doing the mandated reporter training with them, or is that just for
No.
18?
So mandated reporter is gonna be 18 and up. That's what we've at least said before, because that's already over and above what DCF requires. The minor protection and would be any staff, because again, if you have a 15-year-old coaching, you want them to know what's normal, like appropriate behavior. So I'd say the minor protection, the training we have that has component of DCF in there, that would go to everybody, but the specific DCF training would be 18 and up.
So. All staff and volunteers over the age of 18 must complete the mandated reporter training at least every 2 years and file their certificate with the town of Bethany.
Yeah, that's
Right?
good.
I believe it's required every other year.
Mandated reporter is required here.
Is it annually now? Okay. Okay, and then all staff and volunteers, regardless of age, must complete the minor protection
Yeah, like the.
Yeah, that
Is
sounds
that
good.
true though?
That's perfect.
We get somebody's 17-year-old brother to help score keep, are we not gonna let them do that?
I know, if they're not having direct contact with children, like they're like,
Like if we're not.
see, like if
having-
you're running a, like
they're
if you're
not
running a
officially
clock.
volunteering to be a coach or.
You're not doing,
they're
like,
just-
you're not running, you're not in a penalty box.
Can you
with the
just
kid,
say
you're
all
not-
coaching staff and volunteers?
Anyone who's
So
having
just-
direct
let's play
contact
devil's
with
advocate
children.
for a minute. I have my 17-year-old nephew who's there running the clock. He goes to use the restroom. He's in the restroom with other students who are participating in programs. Do we want that person to have completed that training?
Are
Because
you, like,
he's now there under the purview of volunteering for our organization.
Mm.
It's different than just Joe's uncle is there and uses the bathroom. We can't control Joe's uncle being there.
I mean, I almost would defer to what other town programs do also. And I understand like we're in a different spot right now, but if you have someone who's just coming to do it and they're not
The
having direct contact
Watertown
with children.
policy says all park and rec staff, instructors, coaches, and volunteers commit to the minor abuse prevention policy annually.
Mm.
They train employees, instructors, coaches, and volunteers on the do's and don'ts for keeping a child safe and how to identify and prevent grooming.
So I think that is a really good point and makes sense that we would want to do that. And I think that the result of writing it that way would be that if somebody's 17-year-old nephew is there and says, hey, can I help scorekeep? We'd have to say, no, we appreciate that, but no, because they would be considered a volunteer.
This one does say that the policy applies to all paid and volunteer staff and program instructors, all parents and guardians of participating patrons who are under the age of 18.
The parents have to do it as.
I mean, I'm gonna pitch that the coaches,
This one is.
so like. We have a game at 10:45.
Right.
After my game, I'll stay and do the clock for the game after. You know, and vice versa, come early. Just have the people who are already involved doing this, so I have to bring in 10 extra hands and go through all this training and stuff, so.
I know, it might be hard to do, like if you're, yeah.
I mean, it might
And
be.
just like every team has a parent or two who volunteer, but if we keep
But
it
then you
within
have to have the
if
parents
we
that are
keep
gonna
it
have to go
within
through the training too.
the coaches, then.
This is the thing where
And that's what Nick did last year, he would just stay after.
Who would be like, can I just help out? And then are we considering them a volunteer? And
Is Nick free to like float around? Right, like he's not coaching,
Well, he's gonna coach a team
yeah,
for the
but,
4th through 6th.
but most of the time is he free?
No,
No,
no, he's never sitting idly, I know that.
well, I'm just
Yeah.
wondering if, like if that responsibility has to go somewhere. And there's like nobody, he could probably do it, right,
Which
the score thing, or
Yeah.
would that be too much?
yeah,
But if he's reffing now.
No,
Not,
he won't be
not
reffing.
if he's the coach,
Oh, yeah.
because that would be.
right, that's what I mean, like
Oh,
when
yeah.
games,
Who's-
he's not coaching,
Are
he'll
you-
do the score, same with me, I'll do the
Refs are
opposite.
like legitimate refs, right, that have already go through their own training, so we don't have to
Yeah.
worry about them, right?
Yeah, they're all board
Okay, good,
certified
good,
guys,
good,
yeah.
yeah, okay.
As far as the scoreboard, and here's just a question, if a kid runs the scoreboard, are they really volunteering for us? If they're running the scoreboard, they're not Park and Rec employee, they're not part of the program, like, so if somebody's just volunteering to do the scoreboard, I think I mean, is that technically a volunteer of us?
Well, if they're using it for.
I don't know if it is.
Hours or,
So here's the interesting part, right? Like just in my circle, it's like if you're not having direct contact, right, with the child, like you didn't have to be safe sport certified. Like if you were running the clock at a hockey game, like you didn't need to go through a trip because you weren't having that direct one-on-one contact unless there was no glass separating like you and a kid for the penalty box. Like if you were in a penalty box stuck with a kid, you needed to go through like that kind of training. So that's why I'm
Why-
asking that. If they're just
No, I
running a
think that's
clock,
good.
you
Why
know?
don't we just simplify and say if they have direct contact? Because now if they're running the
Yeah.
scoreboard,
Yeah,
it just
I agree.
simplifies it.
This is
I know
like
we're all
all
nervous
coaching
because of what
staff.
happened, but I mean, we gotta draw a line at some point. You know, if somebody's running a scoreboard, they don't need to have minor protection program. They really
Because
don't.
you know
Not gonna let them go to
yeah,
the
you know what,
bathroom.
because in all honesty, what I
That's
found is
before
that
the
there are a
game's
lot of
started.
parents who
Before
don't wanna
they get to the
volunteer
gym.
and they don't wanna go through stuff. And so like I was stuck running a clock when we were at Choate because there's no glass between the penalty box and I was the only one who did it. So you might have parents who like, so you might have the same person doing it all the time.
So all 7 volunteers, regardless of age, who may have direct contact with players, must complete the minor.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah,
Do it that way. That's perfect.
Okay,
Um,
so is that the same, the identification prevention? Is that kind of the same thing as the minor protection?
which one, this,
The link below,
I don't know, I just opened it. I think it was a sample.
okay.
So it's something from DCF, it's a DCF training, identification and prevention of adult sexual misconduct against children, training for school employees.
We can get rid of
This is
that,
like the bystander responsibility and reporting.
seems like just the redundancy of what Dave's doing.
Yeah, and don't forget, the one that we actually have people doing is not the school employee one. There was a difference with the DCF mandated reporter training. It was like the all other group was what they were.
Others or something.
yeah,
like
because
that.
there's like
It
the
wasn't
sex.
the school, because the school had its own thing.
Schools. Yeah,
Yeah, we can remove that one.
okay.
Okay, so we're good with the minor protection. Can we get a motion?
Motion.
Second,
Second,
discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Are
Okay.
we done?
I think so.
So,
yeah,
Well,
for now.
okay. No, because we have to amend the agenda for one additional item when you're done with the policies and procedures.
Okay, is there anything that we need to look at, talk about?
I think we just have Vin look at all of this and see if there's anything that we're missing, and then he can come back with suggestions of, and.
start from scratch.
No, he could bring us a new policy if that's the case.
Yeah.
But like, honestly, like. This, yeah, he can review all this, make sure it's legally
Yeah, he
sound,
just-
let us know if we're missing something that,
Send it to him.
and write it for us if we are.
I'll share it with you. I think you
Yes,
are
please.
on it, but I'll share it with you again.
Yes. Whatever your final version is, send it to me and then I'll make sure that that's it.
Okay. And then we can finish that up. Okay. Can I have a motion to amend our agenda to discuss the resignation of one of our commission members and to take possible action on replacing the commission member?
I'll make the motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
We don't have to have a discussion about that. Yes,
Basically,
discussion,
you're accepting her resignation.
right.
Motion to accept her resignation.
Well,
But first,
we-
we're
The first
just doing
meeting,
motion
right,
to
can, yes, can
amend.
we
Oh, okay,
approve
right,
the
so-
motion to amend the
Right.
agenda? All in
Second
favor?
Motion.
Aye.
Aye.
Third,
Okay. So we had a commission member who resigned, and we don't need to accept her resignation, right?
Well, you should just officially have it on there, just a motion to accept her resignation.
Can I have a motion to accept her
Motion
resignation?
to accept.
Can I have a
Second.
second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we have a possible candidate, Patricia Ryan, who applied originally before kind of the deadline for, like, when we all applied.
So she's your next
She
applicable
will be the
candidate.
next applicable
oh, it
candidate.
just goes in order of,
Well, it all has to
Chronological.
be the same party, replacement.
so are there multiple people
Yeah.
from that party?
She
Can we like,
was the only one within the time frame of the original advertisement of the for the
Alright.
commission. There was someone else who had, but it was after the fact, after it closed. So if Patricia was not interested, then I would have reached out to that other person.
Mhm.
But I reached out to Patricia first, being the next applicable candidate, and she
Are you
indicated
Patricia?
that she is.
I was wondering what you were doing here on Tuesday night, so I'm like.
You know, I don't
Yeah.
have.
Like, man, there's nothing on TV.
He indicated she was interested, and I mentioned that tonight was a regular meeting, and, she is here to see how.
She said to come and observe, but sorry, I chimed in.
Yeah, yeah.
Apologies for
Do we need
that.
a motion to move that to the Board of Selectmen?
So we would move it to the Board of
Correct.
Selectmen and they would make the ultimate call.
I'll make the motion to recommend her to the Board of Selectmen.
May I have a second
Second.
Second.
discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Move forward to Board of Selectmen at their next regularly
Which will be the
scheduled
beginning of
meeting.
December, so in a couple of weeks. And then you'll be able to officially get on board with their next meeting.
Fantastic. Okay, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
9:25.
Let's just go 5 minutes, make it even 3 hours.
We do need to vote
All
on that.
right, thank you.
Do we need to, wait, do we need to vote on
We need
that?
to vote on that, right?
On
Yeah,
what?
do we need
Yeah.
to? Okay.
We did.
Wait, what are we voting on?
Motion
Oh,
to
to
adjourn,
adjourn.
9:25.
Okay, appreciate our.
Aye.
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 All right.
Aye.
Bye, Dave. Hey,
Good night,
I
everyone.
see DJ registered.
You know what? DJ, you want to join, right? You want to play basketball? Yeah, okay, we're joining.
Okay, now we can afford team snap.
There you go.
Thanks for sending that.